Welcome in, everybody. Week 2, just a few minutes away. The Bengals are in Kansas City, ready to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, hoping to give them their first loss of the season. Big-time game for the Bengals, and it got even a little bit bigger just now as the Ravens lost to the Raiders in Las Vegas, giving them an 0-2 start, the first time in many, many years that's been the case for them. So the Bengals' loss to the Patriots last week has not set them back near as far as we expected going into this week. But alas, we're here. We're here and we're ready to go. I can't wait for this one to kick off. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, but I'm really excited. Really excited to be here. Hopefully the Bengals can give us something to cheer for. Didn't have a lot last week to get excited about. Hopefully that changes this week. We're excited. We're ready to go. Still commercial breaks here as the nerves continue to build. I saw all the players walking into the stadium today in their pregame outfits and all that stuff. And Joe Burrow had a little mesh, somewhat see-through tank top going on. He seemed like he was ready to go. The swag was back. That might have been missing last week. The team seemed eager, seemed hungry. Ja'Marr Chase going through warm-ups, catching a lot of balls. Jermaine Burton fielded punt returns in warm-ups, which is certainly an interesting wrinkle for the Bengals as we go into this game today. The 0-2 Ravens, I mentioned it at the start, but that could not be bigger news for the Bengals. It's absolutely massive that they would start out 0-2, and we're underway in Kansas City. So we start the game with a touchback. The Bengals are going to be on offense to start this one. First play, Joe Burrow lines up under center. Mike Gesicki goes in motion. 1st and 10 from the 30. It's a play-action pass. Burrow finds Sample in the slot, or in the flat. The ball's coughed up. It's a fumble on the first play of the game. They rule him out of bounds. It's gonna remain Bengals ball. We're okay. Scary start to the game, especially after what happened last week with all the turnovers and everything like that. Definitely not how you want to start, but we avoid disaster. Still Bengals ball. Joe Burrow drops back to pass again. Good pressure from Chris Jones. He's forced to run, but he finds Sample again. 2 plays, 2 catches for Drew Sample. The Bengals almost to the 50-yard line. Where's Reed Mouse when you need him? DS89. Just get him in space. Get him the football. And good things are going to happen. Love to see the Bengals offense moving the ball a little bit here early. Again, after the struggles last week, this is incredibly refreshing to see. First run of the game, a handoff to Zach Moss, gets stuffed behind the line, but he's able to fall forward, get back to the line, if not gain about half a yard. It's going to be 2nd and about 10 here across midfield. On the Bengals' first drive of the game, this seems like they're moving the ball a little bit easier than they did last week against the Patriots. And a big thing I took away from the first window of games today is that the Patriots might not be the terrible team that we expected. The Patriots put up a good fight. I believe they got the win today. They're a good team that they grind it out. They take possessions away. I think we might be looking at that loss a little bit differently as we get a few weeks more into the season here. Ja'Marr Chase goes in motion at the bottom of the screen. Burrow finds him 5 yards downfield, 6 yards downfield. It's going to be 3rd and 3 for the Bengals, trying to put points on the board on their first drive of the game. broadcast talking about Chris Jones, and that's really all I could think about most of the day today. His ability to wreck the game is second to almost none in the entire NFL, and with the Bengals' offensive line struggles, specifically Trent Brown last week, you certainly worry about that matchup. And in this play right here, 3rd and 4, Chris Jones lines up across from Trent Brown. Trent holds his ground. Burrow trying to get the ball to Irwin, but Nick Bolton knocks it down at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a 4th and 4 from right about the 40. It seems like the Bengals are going to go for this. The offense staying on the field. I love the aggression. Absolutely love the aggression. You're playing a team that's won back-to-back Super Bowls, looking for 3 in a row. You have to capitalize on drives where you're moving the ball, and the Bengals have just now. Got to get the ball beyond the sticks, Rick. That's exactly right. Rick in our chat right now says, throw the ball past the sticks. That couldn't be more true. Got to convert here if you're going to go for it. Otherwise, you're giving the Chiefs great field position, and we know what Patrick Mahomes can do. Burrow finds Gesicki. 30, 20. Makes a man miss inside the 10. Brought down at the 7. Great play, Mike Gesicki. That's what I wanted him to do. That's what he did last week. He converts those 3rd downs. That a 4th down, obviously, but still a must-convert play. He's filling in that Tyler Boyd role perfectly. He's so reliable. No checkdowns, and that's right across the middle there for about 10 yards downfield. And Mike Gesicki makes moves with the ball in his hand. I absolutely love to see that. Mike Gesicki's giving us a phenomenal receiving option at the tight end position right now. It's great to see. Great to see. 1 catch for 37 yards today. Talk about a chunk play. Bengals just outside the 5. Handoff to Zach Moss, who gets it down to about the 4. Great work. Bengals a top 10 red zone offense last year. Chiefs a top 10 red zone defense. This is a matchup of the best right here. 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Bengals looking to put points on the board here early in the game. Take a lead. Burrow fakes. Looks for Jamar in the end zone but can't find him. I like targeting Jamar early. You absolutely have to do that. No question about it. Have to get him involved more than he was last week. Already multiple targets for him. That one in the end zone, that's perfect. Obviously doesn't come into play there. Trent McDuffie in the coverage, he's just phenomenal. He's going to make plays like that all game long, but you have a number 1 receiver for a reason. You got to find him in the end zone. 3rd and goal inside the 5-yard line now. It's going to be a timeout for the Bengals. 3rd and goal. Bengals use their first timeout with 10 minutes and 49 seconds left in the quarter. You guys are saying I'm behind, so I'm going to try to refresh this and see what happens as we go to commercial break here in Kansas City. Yeah, Alex Wallace, a good friend in the chat here, points out McDuffie. He's an absolute baller. There's no way around it. If he's shadowing Jamar Chase today, it might be a tough game to get a lot of production out of your number 1 receiver, and that's the threat you have when T. Higgins is out like he is again today, inactive for the 2nd week in a row, and when you only have 1 superstar wide receiver out there, the other team knows who to defend, and they know what to do. And when T. Higgins is on the bench, Jamar Chase, the dominant number 1 receiver with a lot of unproven guys around him, a lot of guys I believe in, but a lot of unproven guys around him, teams are just going to key in on Jamar and make sure that he doesn't beat them. But hopefully the Bengals can scheme around it. 3rd and goal inside the 5 now. Jamar goes in motion. Lines up in the slot. Yoshivas on the outside. Irwin and Gesicki at the top of the screen. Joe pumps, scrambles, throws anyway. He was about to get sacked, got the ball away for an incompletion. 4th and goal. Bengals are going to bring out the field goal unit. George Karlaftis just whoops Trent Brown. Story of our lives 2 weeks into the season. Joe has limited time in the pocket with short field to work with. It takes not a lot to disrupt goal line plays, and that's exactly what Karlaftis did. McPherson, you extend him for a reason. He's lined up here to give the Bengals an early lead. 22-yard field goal attempt. Bang. Bang. 3-0, courtesy of number 2. I'll take it. I'll take it. Houday. Houday's right, Molly. Houday's right. I'll take it. 3-0 Bengals, courtesy of Evan McPherson. Number 2 bangs it through the uprights. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful first drive but by the Bengals. That's exactly what we want, moving the ball downfield with relative ease. Burrow 4 of 7 for 63 yards. Zach Moss 2 carries for 3 yards on the drive. Obviously going to need to get the run game going a little bit more if we're going to be able to be successful today. But that nearly 40-yard ball to Mike Gesicki is about as good as it gets. If we can capitalize on chunk plays with wide receivers and tight ends, everyone involved in the game plan, that's exactly what we want. Mike Gesicki contributing early. Obviously, the touchdown doesn't come to fruition when you get inside the 5, but we'll take a field goal anyway. This offense struggled to score last week. Fumbles in the red zone. That's not the case on the first drive. Absolutely love to see it. Interested to see how the Chiefs come out here today. The betting lines were a little bit interesting to me. Rashee Rice, just over 60 yards. I think it was 65.5 yards was his betting line today. After a 100-yard game last week with over 70 yards out of the slot, I was shocked that the line was so low, but Cam Taylor-Britt, he said he was going to take Xavier Worthy out of the game. If he's able to do that, I would expect Rashee Rice to get the bulk of those touches in the receiving corps. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to get his, but I was shocked to see a lack of faith in Rashee Rice. Yeah, just 66.5 now. The same line as Jamar Chase, which honestly I thought was a little low as well. I know he didn't perform to our expectations necessarily in week 1, but I think 65 yards for Jamar Chase, if you think the Bengals can compete in this game, is really, really short. No one really does think the Bengals can compete in this game, I guess. The panel on NFL Network swept picking the Chiefs. The panel on ESPN swept picking the Chiefs earlier this week. The producers of NFL Live played a prank on the hosts and showed that they picked the Bengals as opposed to the Chiefs, and they lost their mind because they couldn't comprehend why anyone would pick the Bengals. Well, I'm here to tell you that I know I believe in the team today, and I know the chat does too. So we're here. We're rooting them on. They need us. 3-0 lead in the first quarter after the first drive. Couldn't ask for a much better start. Obviously, would want 7 getting inside the 10, but we'll take that. Joe Burrow looks more relaxed, playing smoother, playing more like the Joe we know. McPherson lines up to kick it off here. Mecole Hardman back to return. 2 returners back for the Chiefs, Mecole Hardman, and I can't make out the number on the other one. And it won't matter because McPherson sends the ball into the end zone. Chiefs will take the ball at the 30. Patrick Mahomes takes the field. An impressive win against the Ravens in week 1. They were just half a cleat away from losing. Mahomes 3-3 against the Bengals in his career, 3-1 against Joe Burrow. Hasn't won in the regular season against Joe Burrow. 291 yards in week 1, a week where we saw the passing in the NFL be at one of its lowest points we've seen in a long time, and he still almost has 300 yards. First play of the game for the Chiefs is a handoff to Pacheco. He just across the line of scrimmage, barely even a yard. 2nd and 9 for the Chiefs, 10:25, and ticking down left in the first quarter. Juju Smith-Schuster starting out on the field with this wide receiver unit for Kansas City. He didn't play much last week, which was a big-time surprise for me. I know we talked about that on Chatterbox Bengals on Thursday. They signed him, I thought, to be the veteran presence in a young receiving room, and he barely played last week. A handoff to Pacheco, and the Bengals defense showing some of the same issues that they had last week. Pacheco just slices through the middle of the defense for a first down. Last season versus the Bengals, Pacheco had 130 rushing yards. 130 rushing yards, a career high for the 7th-round pick out of Rutgers. No missed tackles there, just the front seven getting whooped. There's no way around that. Pacheco makes the play. He's a good running back, a 7th-round pick, not necessarily a household name. Obviously has won a lot in Kansas City, even just in 1 year. But they swing it out to him there, and that's a part of his game he's really added to since he got to the league, the receiving aspect. He's been a much, much better receiver out of the backfield as he's gone on. Casey McAllister, Pikachu, little electric mouse, the muscle hamster, all of the above certainly apply to Isaiah Pacheco, a very unique running style that people get a lot of jokes off about. Just over 9 minutes left in the first quarter now. 2nd and 5 for the Chiefs on their first drive of the game. After a swing pass to Pacheco, Rashee Rice motions to the outside, and a screen pass goes to him. Slicing through the defense again. It's going to be a first down. Chat, we're going to have to do something here to get a stop on defense. Chiefs are gliding down the field, basically just as easy as the Bengals did. We're going to have to do something here to change the vibes. Not a lot of long developing pass plays yet, so no real chance to get a look at the pass rush. Mahomes drops back to pass, sets up at the 49, and now he runs, gets around Jermaine Pratt, and Dax Hill's able to push him out of bounds. It's going to be 2nd and 1, unless they give him an advantageous spot here. He went out of bounds right around the sticks. This is a deep drop back for Mahomes. The receivers get way downfield after a play-action pass. Jermaine Pratt floats out towards Rashee Rice, and then Mahomes just finds the green grass. That's why he's so great. No one talks about Patrick Mahomes as a scrambler, as a dual-threat quarterback, but he certainly gets the job done when he needs to, especially in big-time games. And when the Bengals and Chiefs play, it's always a big-time game. Mahomes hands it off now to Carson Steele. Chiefs backup running back takes the ball down further into the Bengals side of the field. Certainly not a great start for this Bengals run defense. Steele just hurdles through a pile at the line of scrimmage and then falls forward for about 10 yards. That's incredibly upsetting. These defenders need to fill the holes better. It starts with the D-line, goes to the linebackers. Chiefs hand off to Pacheco, and he falls inside the red zone. 19-yard line inside the red zone. This defense is struggling, getting pushed around. Absolutely no pushback from this defense. We knew that was going to be a worry. We talked about earlier this week how worried we were about Pacheco's run style, his ability to break tackles, and the Chiefs' physicality up front. And in 3 games versus Cincinnati in his career, Pacheco has over 100 yards. Certainly seems like it's trending that way again today. They hand off again. He slices through the defense now inside the 15. It's going to be first down from about the 13-yard line. No strength on this D-line is absolutely right. Sam Hubbard, if you're not going to defend the run, we know you can't rush the pass. We're going to have to find someone else that can play that role. I don't understand how this is an issue week in and week out. We need to figure out a solution. And that starts with Lou, and it trickles down to the players. I'm not giving the players a pass, but I'm also not giving the coaching staff a pass. This is the main issue after last week, and just one drive in, we're seeing the same issue again. Mahomes swing pass to Justin Watson for about 7 yards, gets down inside the 10. The Chiefs are just moving the ball with ease. Not breaking a sweat at all. Quick passes, handoffs. Nothing taking too long to develop. They feel like they have a good beat on this Bengals defense, I guess. And they're attacking. 3 for 3, just 20 yards for Patrick Mahomes on this first drive, but when you have 6 carries for over 40, you don't need his arm to do a lot of the work. 2nd and 4 inside the 10. Play action pass, and Mahomes bounces it to Kelsey. Incomplete. It's going to be 3rd and 4. Bengals were stopped inside the 10 on their first drive, forced to kick a field goal to take a 3-0 lead, and 3rd down for the Chiefs in the red zone. You hope Bengals defense can do the same. Mahomes just held on to that ball too long. Third and 4. Hand off to Pacheco, and there's contact, but he falls forward. It's going to be a first down inside the 3-yard line, inside the 5-yard line. They marked him short. They marked Pacheco short. Great play, I believe, Geno Stone. Geno Stone in there. Pacheco absolutely falling forward. Geno Stone fills the hole to push him back. That's a great play. 4th and 1, 4th and less than 1. Inside the 5 for the Chiefs. They go for it. They hand off to Carson Steele. And he gets the first down. Inside the 3-yard line. Chiefs going to have it 1st and goal. 4.5 minutes left in this first quarter. Clock's ticking. Bengals up 3. Getting a stop there would have been huge. Getting a stop there would have been absolutely huge. But a fullback dive from this Chiefs offense gets the first down. That's infuriating. 1st and goal, another handoff. And the Bengals defense stands up. It's going to be 2nd and goal, no gain. This is that patented bend, don't break Lou Anarumo defense. Who cares if they get down to the 1, 2, or 3-yard line? Just don't let them in the end zone. It would certainly be nice to get a few 3 and outs every now and then, but I won't complain if you keep the Chiefs out of the end zone here. 2nd and goal now, inside the 5. Chiefs converted a 4th down earlier in this drive. Sky Moore in motion. Mahomes hands off again. Sam Hubbard, great play. Flies down the line of scrimmage behind the offensive line. Brings down Pacheco for no gain again. 3rd and goal. Now for the Chiefs. Bengals, you got to force them to a field goal here. This has been great work by the defense to strengthen up. As your back gets held against the wall here on the goal line, great play by Hubbard to get around the edge, fly down the line and make the play. Mahomes in shotgun, Pacheco next to him. Sky Moore, quick motion. Some decent pressure, but Mahomes finds Pacheco in the backfield. He's brought down for a minimal gain. It's going to be 4th down from about the 2-yard line. Great work by the defense. Great work. You give up that 4th down, it would have been easy to hang your head, let the Chiefs get a touchdown there, but no, they step up. They make a play. Harrison Butker's going to come out to attempt a field goal with 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter to tie this game. Well within his range, don't get me wrong. 89.2% career field goal percentage, the 2nd highest in NFL history for Butker. He became the league's highest paid kicker earlier this offseason when the Chiefs extended him. He lines up, he knocks it through. 3-3, Bengals Chiefs, just over 2:10 left in the first quarter. That stop couldn't feel bigger. That stop could not feel bigger. You do have to worry if the defense is a little bit worn out after that. You see that they're out there for a long time. A lot of runs, not a lot of time to catch your breath when the offense is running the ball down your throat. But obviously, they had enough in the tank. They had enough in the tank to sharpen up and get the job done at the goal line, force a field goal, keep the game tied. That's exactly what you want to see. That's the best part of this Lou Anarumo defense is no matter how far down the field that the other team gets, you still have faith. That's right, Casey. Lou Dini. He always steps up against the Chiefs. Absolutely huge drive for the Bengals here. Hopefully it looks as easy as the last one did. Would be big to go down the field again and get some more points on the board. Obviously would prefer a touchdown than anything. I would love to see some shots downfield. Obviously, if you take what the defense gives you, but you just got a good stop there. Obviously, they still got 3 points on the board, but vibes are high. Momentum certainly feels like it's leaning in your direction. Take a shot here. Take control over the game. Craig Sandlin, co-host of the postgame show, coming up right after the game, brings up a great point after Hubbard struggled last week, like I said earlier. It's great to hear him have his name called early. Great to see him make a play that'll really help this team try to win this game because it got pretty loud about Sam Hubbard over this last week after a 0% pass rush win rate against the Patriots. A lot of people were calling for a change at the edge rusher position, but there, a crucial play early in the game to keep it tied, keep him out of the end zone, and that's exactly what you ask for. That's what we want to see Sam Hubbard do. Safety, converted linebacker, converted D lineman. He's supposed to have that extra speed, that extra awareness to make plays like that, and there he does. If Sam Hubbard's going to do that, then I'm all in on keeping him as the starting edge rusher. Kickers are going to be the difference here. That's exactly right, but they always are. We know that. Harrison Bucker, one of the best in the league, but we got ours too. Just keep your foot on the gas, offense. Kickoff fielded by Travion. Williams gets across the 20 out to about the 25, 24-yard line. Bengals are going to take over Joe Burrow in the offense after a pretty good return. I'm still not used to this ridiculous new kickoff. I think it looks terrible. I hate it. Prefer college football with the real kickoff. It just looks better. September stats for these two quarterbacks couldn't really be more different. 1-8 record for Burrow, 13 touchdowns to 11 turnovers, whereas Mahomes rarely ever loses. 11-2, 41 touchdowns, 5 turnovers. Stat line can't get much better than that. Eric All lines up at fullback in the I formation. Joe Burrow under center, but Trent Brown jumps offside. It's going to be a false start on the Bengals' right tackle. That big-time free agency signing has not paid off quite yet. He couldn't have been more offsides. Sometimes they call it on the lineman just for rocking back or moving their hand or something like that, and Trent Brown just took off. 1st and 15 now for the Bengals after the penalty. They send Jamar Chase in motion. He's going to be at the slot on the top of the screen with Irwin and Gesicki. Joe Burrow drops back. Looks for Yoshivas across the middle, but a little bit behind him. It's going to be incomplete, 2nd and 15. Not exactly a deep shot downfield, but still deeper than a lot of the stuff we saw last week. That was probably about 10 yards downfield, and we didn't see many balls that went that far last week. So obviously a little bit different game plan maybe for the Bengals going into this one, or at least Joe Burrow feels more comfortable with taking those chances there. 2nd and 15 for the Bengals, just inside their own 20 at the 19. Joe Burrow shotgun snap, hands it off to Zach Moss, who can't find much space, but drags the pile for about 6 yards. 3rd and 10 for the Bengals coming up. I'm really starting to worry about some of these receivers not named Jamar Chase. Really all of these receivers not named Jamar Chase. How much separation can we get on the outside? Can we win one-on-one matchups? I see it put in the chat right there, Charles H. I have the same exact concerns. These receivers on the outside might be great threes, but I don't know if they can be twos and consistently be good outside corners. 3rd and 9 for the Bengals now. Burrow flanked by 2 backs in the backfield. Sample and Moss both stay in to block. Burrow scrambles, breaks 1 tackle, able to get beyond the line of scrimmage, but just about 3 yards. It's going to be 4th and 6. The punt unit is going to come onto the field, and we're going to get a chance to see Bengals record holder Ryan Reckow for the first time today. 80-yard punt in week 1, longest punt in Bengals franchise history. Backed up here inside the 25. Hope he can do something similar. Flipping field position is something that's absolutely crucial. Obviously, when you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, a lot of the weapons we have on this offense when we're healthy, you don't talk about punting a lot. But a change from Brad Robbins to Reckow could really make a difference for this team this year in capitalizing in that 3rd phase of the game. Ball goes to Hardman just inside their 30, and he's brought down for basically no return. A nice hit there on the punt coverage team. Just under 30 seconds. 30 seconds to go here in the first quarter. We're tied 3-3. Both teams with field goals on their first drive, and then the Bengals punt on their second after a penalty and a drop. That's absolutely right, Casey. Casey says that penalty derailed that drive, and I couldn't agree more. The Bengals stayed ahead of the sticks on the first drive of the game, and it never really caught up to them. They were able to stay comfortable and call what they wanted to call, but when you go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15, you're forced to do certain things, and I don't think the Bengals wanted to throw the ball across the middle of the field there on first down. They want to establish that run game, and when you get to 2nd and 15, you really don't have any choices. You just run and you play for the punt, I guess, so couldn't agree more. Trent Brown needs to step it up. Whether it's penalties or just lining up across from Chris Jones, my heart drops every single time I see that matchup. Burrow looks good so far. 50 yards, 60 yards, 4 of 8 passing. Zach Moss needs to pick it up. Just 9 yards on 3 carries. He didn't carry the ball much last week. We didn't run the ball much last week. But certainly want to see that run game really step it up. Still no action for Chase Brown. At least no targets or carries. I haven't noticed him out there yet. And that's a guy I really thought was going to be a bigger piece of this offense. I don't understand why we're not using him enough, and if we didn't have faith in him to be a good second back, then why didn't we go attack the market and get another running back to pair with Zach Moss? Dan Pitcher reiterated throughout the whole week that this is still a 50-50 backfield with Moss and Brown, but it just simply doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's more 90-10, if that, 95-5, if we're talking about the Moss-Brown split. It's certainly not what I expected. Headed back to Arrowhead now to wrap up the first quarter. Just about 30 seconds left. Taylor Swift in attendance. Didn't expect to see her on the broadcast today. Mahomes in the shotgun. Kelsey in the backfield with Pacheco to the flat, but Mahomes is looking downfield, and it's picked! It's picked off! ADG! Akeem Davis-Gaither! That boy has been on this defense for years and years. Years and years as a depth piece. Comes in, makes a play. You knew he was going to play more this year with that linebacking core taking a step back last year. What a great play! Mahomes doesn't get baited into stuff like that. Fades to his left, lets Kelsey look open on that hitch in the middle of the field, jumps right in front. Ooh-wee! That is incredible! What a play on the ball! Bengals back on the field, offense back on the field. 19 seconds left in the first quarter. Jamar Chase motions to the backfield on the first down play. Play action to Zach Moss. Burrow finds Eric all across the middle of the field. Gets about 9 yards on the first down play. That's phenomenal. I want to see more of Eric All. Showed some great blocking prowess last week on the edge in his limited action, and then obviously they're making a great play, receiving the ball. I would love to see him. Seize a bigger role in this offense. I'm done with Tanner Hudson. I want one of these rookies to take over with that third tight end role, I guess, if you're counting Mike Gesicki. First quarter, obviously you'd like more than 3 points in a quarter, but hey, no complaints. No complaints for that Bengals first quarter. A field goal, a rough drive that was derailed by a penalty, and then a pick by the defense. A defense that stepped up and made a great play inside the 5-yard line to keep the Chiefs to a field goal on their first drive. Both sides of the ball seem to be clicking here, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. This team came to play today against one of the best teams in the league. They heard all the noise. They heard no one picked them. We got to get in here and score right now. That's such an incredible play. I saw it in the chat. Pardon me, I didn't notice who said it, but If ADG is going to make plays like that and these other two linebackers are not going to play up to what they were signed to play up to, and start having a conversation about biting some money. And I'm not talking about cutting anybody, but I'm talking about playing the guy that doesn't have as big of a contract. If ADG is going to be better, put him out there. A lot of these linebackers, both these linebackers have struggled early, and we saw another guy, Young Meta, in the preseason that played great enough as an undrafted free agent to make this final roster. I don't know. I don't know how much leeway these linebackers, Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, have. Wilson graded out phenomenally last week. PFF had him as the top-graded linebacker at just above a 92. So a great game for him on film, even though live reaction-wise, I didn't think he stood out. But Pratt struggled again, as he struggled last year. Hopefully they can step it up. We don't have to worry about it. But we have depth at that position that we haven't had in a long time. We'll be able to rotate guys through if need be. Second quarter coming up. Bengals opened this game as, I believe, a 6-point underdog. The current line has them at 3.5 point underdog. And just a reminder, every Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes matchup has been decided by exactly 3 points. Exactly 3 points. So if that holds true again today, hopefully the Bengals are obviously victorious, but that would lead to a cover. Overhead view of Arrowhead Stadium, and every time I see that stadium complex in Kansas City, I get a little chuckle. Joe Burrow, QB sneak on 2nd and 1, converts it. A little Eagles-esque tush-push there. Converts the first down. Love to see that aggression. Arrowhead Stadium is just in the middle of the biggest parking lot I've ever seen in the entire world. In Missouri, not Kansas. So, a lot of pieces that lead to... It's a great stadium. It always makes me chuckle. Bengals huddled up on 1st and 10. Just inside the red zone just outside the red zone. Pardon me, at the 21-yard line. Still tied 3-3 in the first drive of the second quarter. And that handoff goes to Chase Brown. There he is. There it is. There's the explosion I wanted to see. As soon as he burst through the hole, I knew that was Chase Brown, not Zach Moss. Zach Moss does not have that kind of burst. He's a great short yardage back, but that's what I want to see out of Chase Brown. He provides a perfect different set of skills for this Bengals backfield, and it's a kind of burst that when you use that as a change of pace, I don't think teams are going to be able to catch up with. Moss back in the game. I formation under center. Eric All at fullback. A handoff to Moss. Great run. 5-yard run on 2nd and 3. First down inside the 10 for Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense. Eric All getting a lot of run today. Love to see that. After Hudson's debacle last week, I'm glad the coaching staff realized it was time to make a change. 1st and goal inside the 10. Justin Reed left the game for a minute. He's now back in. Shotgun snap to Burrow. Jamar out of the backfield, but Burrow goes to Irwin inside the 5. Ball's going to be down at the 4 for 2nd and goal. T. Higgins, street clothes on the sideline. Went through his warm-ups today. Seemed like a standard warm-up routine for T. Hopefully, he'll be back for prime time next week against the Commanders back in Paycor Stadium. Obviously not out there today. We're going to need people to step up. So far they have, and the offense looks pretty good. 2nd and goal from the 4. Burrow under center. Delayed play action. Throw Sales out of bounds just to the first row of Arrowhead Stadium. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 5. That was a beautiful play fake. You would like to see a little bit of a better route from Andre Yoshivas. Seems like He's just kind of running around trying to find open space instead of being intentional. But obviously, credit to the Chiefs defense as well for good coverage. 3rd and goal inside the 5. Bengals trying to regain the lead. Tied at 3-3, 12 minutes still left to go in the first half. Burrow drops back, lets it fly. It's caught by Yoshivas, but the refs are talking. Hands are up! Touchdown, Yoshi! That's what I'm talking about. What did I say? We need people not named Jamar Chase to step up on the outside, and Yoshi does it. The touchdown machine. All he did last year was score touchdowns. And there's another one. Great toe drag. Certainly looks like both feet got down for me. This will be reviewed. This is a good angle here from the back end. 1 taps, 2 taps, and it looks like he held on to it. That's an incredible play. Incredible play by Yoshi. You don't get receivers in the late rounds that can make plays like that. The Bengals might have struck gold on the kid out of Princeton. That's wonderful by 80. If he's making plays like that, take your time, T. Higgins. Get healthy and help us in the playoffs. Toe drag swag, Andre Yoshivas, 10-3. 10-3 Bengals. Scores on 2 of the 3 drives to start the game. Ooh-wee, baby, this team looks good. This is the team I was expecting to watch last week. Hand it to the Patriots. Obviously, that didn't go the way we wanted, but rolling here early. The guys you need to step up are stepping up. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Can't ask for much more than that. Mike Gesicki still leading the team in receiving with that 137-yard catch. 81 yards for Burrow, 7-12. Obviously the touchdown. Zach Moss just over 3.5 yards per carry, 4 carries for 14 yards. And then Chase Brown, would love to see more of him. 1 carry, 7 yards. Great burst through the middle of that line. And then obviously Joe Burrow, just 2 carries for 4 yards. Drew Sample active in the passing game. The tight ends active in the passing game. 3 receivers with catches, 3 tight ends with catches through 3 drives for the Bengals so far. This is phenomenal. This team looks good. Chase puts it in the chat right there. He's absolutely right. Patriots look good today. Patriots looked like a team. I'm not going to say they're a playoff team or anything like that, but I think they could muddy the waters in the AFC a little bit. Beat a few teams they shouldn't. Mess with those wild card rankings at the end of the year. They're a pesky team. They take the ball out of their opponent's hands. They run it into the ground and trim off the length of the game, and that's why they're going to be able to beat a lot of teams, I think. The defense is good. The defense is always going to be good. Bengals 10-3 over the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw a pick to Akeem Davis-Gaither on their second drive of the game. Uncharacteristic play for Mahomes. Absolutely just baited into it by ADG, and then Bengals capitalize. With a great short touchdown drive to get the ball into the end zone. Burrow finds Yoshivas at the front corner pylon. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Keep it up. Defense maybe less bending. Certainly no breaking allowed, but less bending would be phenomenal. Every single analyst on TV this morning picked the Chiefs. Let's remember that. Said it was easy. Easy pick. No-brainer. No-brainer. Take Mahomes and the Chiefs. Bengals team's done. So far, certainly fighting. 10-3 Bengals have a touchdown lead. 12 minutes left in the second quarter. McPherson booms it deep. Into the end zone. Will the Chiefs take it out? They will not. Chiefs will have the ball at the 30. Hopefully we can get a little luck again. Maybe another pick. Maybe another early turnover. Get this offense some good field position. At the very least, I'd love a 3-and-out. Tight formation here. Fake handoff to Pacheco. Mahomes finds Worthy in the slot, or in the flat. Dax Hill makes the tackle on Worthy after a short gain. Xavier Worthy, impressive to some in his opener with 2 touchdowns on just 3 touches, a 20-yard run, 30-yard receiving touchdown, and just 1 other catch in the game. But Cam Taylor-Britt, not among those impressed. Taylor-Britt said, he just runs in a straight line. It's cool he can do that, but we're going to be physical with him, take him out of the game. And so far, haven't seen a lot from Worthy, but certainly a scary player with the speed on the outside. Pacheco powers through on 2nd and 4 for a gain of about 10. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 40. 8 carries for 40 yards for Pacheco so far. Just limited pushback for the Bengals defense. That's 5 yards a carry without anything deep. 1 11-yard run. I was right there, but he's just chipping away. 5 yards a carry without breaking a sweat is a reverse to Worthy, and this is where the speed comes into play. You get him in open space, and he's scary. But Geno Stone comes in and tries to lay a big hit. Bounces off, but still forces Worthy out of bounds. It's going to be 2nd and 5. That play dangerous. The play he scored on last week against the Ravens. Great move by Dax Hill to get in that blocker's chest on the outside and clog up those rushing lanes. 2nd and 6 from the 50. Mahomes in the shotgun. Swings it to Pacheco. Another phenomenal play by Akeem Davis-Gaither. Fights off the Noah Gray block. Drives Pacheco out of bounds for a limited gain. It's going to be 3rd down for the Chiefs. 3rd and 5. No gain. Love what I'm seeing from Akeem Davis-Gaither today. B.J. Hill being shown on the bench on the sideline, being tended to by it looks like team doctors, certainly would be a big loss for this Bengals defense. We've talked ad nauseum about the worries with the defensive line depth. Losing B.J. Hill would be bad. Trey Hendrickson, good pressure on 3rd and 5. Mahomes looks to run for it. Logan Wilson makes the play, but it depends on the spot. They give Mahomes the reach. They give Mahomes the 1st down. It's going to be 1st down. Chiefs after a crafty scramble by Mahomes. That's a back-breaking play because you thought you had him. Mahomes incredibly aware of where he is on the field, reaches out beyond the marker. It's the right call. He stayed in the air. That's frustrating. Mahomes in shotgun again. Loads up, fires deep. And it's a bomb to Rashee Rice. Touchdown, Chiefs. 10-9, pending the field goal to tie the game. Rashee Rice just had about 2 yards on Cam Taylor-Britt. Mahomes hit him in stride. First touchdown for Rice so far this season, but like I said earlier, he had a heck of a game in week 1, over 100 yards, over 70 from the slot. Just a quick jab step. Beats Cam Taylor-Britt off the line. CTB looks like he slowed up there. Looking back for the ball. Rashee Rice never broke stride, and Mahomes finds him. Can't be talking all that crap during the week and then allow a bomb touchdown in the first half of the game. That's a tough pill to swallow. Butker bangs the field goal through. 10-10. We got a tie game in Kansas City. Biggest rivalry in the NFL. It's delivering so far. CTB talks all week about got to be physical. I know he was talking about Xavier Worthy, not Rashee Rice, but he said, knock him off the line and we'll be okay. And then he just doesn't make any contact on a quick move off the line, on a quick release off the line. Absolutely brutal to play like that after the way he talked this week. That's a chunk play. Defense still looks good. I said all week that if this game goes over, I don't like the Bengals' chances. Well, 10-10 with 8:50 left in the second quarter. Both offenses moving it pretty easily. Certainly trending that way. Watching that play back, it certainly looks like Cam Taylor-Britt slows up. Someone brought it up in the chat. Could that have been a blown coverage? Maybe he was expecting a safety over top because he breaks stride and lets up there in the middle of that route. It certainly looked like true man-to-man, but that play doesn't really make much sense from Cam Taylor-Britt's angle, slowing up there on a streak ball down the sideline. Our dear friend Sir Boy Wonder with the best idea I've seen yet today. Let's score again. I love it. We're not talking field goals, we're talking touchdowns. Let's go down and punch this in. Don't play scared. Take a shot. Back to Kansas City now, just under 9 minutes to go in the first half. I'd like to see the chats on my side when it comes to clamoring for Chase Brown. Certainly would love to see him in there. The level of explosiveness is just completely different than anyone else on the offense, especially in that backfield. One of the fastest ball carriers in the NFL last year was Chase Brown. Two returners back for the Bengals as Butker gets ready to send it deep. A knee for Travion Williams. In the end zone, Bengals will take the ball at the 30. Cam Taylor-Britt just zero contact on that play. Gets ran straight around. Great throw by Mahomes. Great route by Rice, but you would love to see more. You would love to see more out of CTB on the outside, especially because he's supposed to be the bona fide number one. Joe Burrow under center again to start this drive. Walks back to the shotgun. Chase Brown flanks him in the backfield. Shotgun snap. Burrow looks and finds Sample feeding the tight ends. This is certainly not the scheme I expected, but if it works, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. An 8-yard reception for Sample gives him 3 on the day for just under 30 yards, 28 yards. 2nd and 2 now for the Bengals. They love these tight ends, man. Trent Irwin in motion. Under center, Burrow. Handoff to Moss, who weaves his way through that scrum at the line of scrimmage for a first down. Zach Moss is an incredible short yardage back. I don't know how many 20-plus yard, explosive play, long touchdowns we're going to see from him this year, if any. But there might not be many backs I'd rather have in the league than him for a yard or two. Always falls forward, always finds the little gaps. Great showings from him so far. Bengals take their second timeout of the first half with 7.5 minutes. Burrow just catching his breath. Walking back to a huddle. Back angle of that time out there. Burrow screaming over at the sideline. holding his hands over his ears like he can't hear the play. Have to wonder if the mics went out there in the helmet. That's a brutal, brutal way to have to burn a timeout in a close game. That's a killer way to have to burn a timeout. First and 10. Fake jet to Jamar. Joe Burrow loads up for a ball downfield, and he finds Eric All. Feed these tight ends. I love the Bengals drafting 2 tight ends. You knew that was a room that needed an infusion of youth, an infusion of talent. You go out, you sign Mike Gesicki, who's the biggest name you've had in that room in a long, long time. Then you draft a guy in Eric All who is an incredibly exciting prospect. Without the injury concerns, he would have went much higher in the draft, and there he continues to contribute. 6 catches on 6 targets for 93 yards for Bengals tight ends. And Joe Burrow's had all the time in the world back there today. Zach Moss in motion. Burrow quickly finds Chase, who makes one man miss, drags another beyond the 30 for a first down. Love to see Jamar playing like Jamar. Taking a 7-yard hitch for 12 yards and dragging a guy with you is exactly the Jamar Chase that I love. That's beautiful. That's Bengals offense. And we're rolling. Oh boy, are we rolling. Let's punch this in here. Chase on the sideline now for this 1st and 10 play. Burrow lines up in the pistol with Sample and Moss behind him. Hands off to Moss, who gets hit behind the line, but again, gets 2. Zach Moss just does not lose yardage. Does not get knocked back. Obviously, we want more than 2 yards, but it's a gritty run. 2nd and 8. Tie game for the Bengals. Just outside the 25 on the 27-yard line going into the end zone. Burrow checks the play. 5 seconds on the play clock. Bengals get the snap off. He drops back. Throws deep. Jamar Chase tackled. Tackled by Trent McDuffie. By the time the camera panned out to the outside receiver on the play, McDuffie and Chase tangled up and laying on the ground. PI on McDuffie, on the Chiefs. It's going to be first down for the Bengals. Spot foul. That's textbook. That's textbook PI. It's amazing what happens when you take shots. It's amazing what happens when you take shots. Good things happen. Stay aggressive. Keep your foot on the gas. Burrow's hands go up immediately, as if to ask, what the heck was that? O-line does look good today. That's absolutely right. People in the chat pointing out Burrow has time to let plays develop. He did against the Patriots too, but back shoulder pass to Gesicki in the front of the end zone lands incomplete. Mike Gesicki matched up on the outside with a corner. Seems like a pretty good thing for the Bengals in the red zone, but the ball just sails outside. It's a few yards behind him. Lands out of bounds. Burrow scrambles, creates time, loads up and fires. Oh, ball bounces off Trenton Irwin's chest. Some people in the chat clamoring that Burrow should have ran there. I certainly don't disagree. Number 35, Chiefs defensive back, turned facing completely at Irwin, playing defense. You would have probably gotten close to a touchdown there if Burrow would have tucked and ran At the very least, probably a first down. Bengals try again on 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10 from the 12-yard line. Burrow takes it in shotgun, drops back to pass, and the Chiefs pass rush gets home. Chiefs pass rush gets home. It's George Karlaftis again. George Karlaftis is a heck of a player. A guy I really, really wanted in Cincinnati. Then the Chiefs took him a pick before us. McPherson comes out for his second field goal. 1 for 1 from the 22-yard line. Similar distance here for McPherson. It's a 33-yard attempt. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second on the play clock. They get the snap off, and McPherson bangs it through. Right through the uprights. But field goals aren't going to beat the Chiefs, gentlemen. Field goals aren't going to beat the Chiefs. We need touchdowns. We need 6s and 7s. That's how you beat good teams. You get 6s and 7s, not 3s, especially not when you're in the red zone. Have to capitalize. Have to capitalize. Points are always a good thing. That's absolutely correct. But you point back at the end of a close game, it's not converting touchdowns and settling for field goals that could cause you to lose it. Burrow absolutely should have ran that 3rd down. I know he's no speed demon, but he's crafty. He knows how to find space. Nearing halftime in Kansas City, under 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 19 seconds left to go. Mahomes, 1 touchdown, the 1 interception, 71 yards on 7 completions, 9 attempts. Bengals backfield, not getting the job done. We said the run game was going to be crucial to setting up everything we want to do offensively today, and so far for the Bengals, 1 7-yard carry for Chase Brown, but everything else you're averaging under 3 yards. Under 3 yards per rush, which is just unacceptable. Just unacceptable. Need more push up front. The O-line has looked good in pass protection, but need more push up front during the run game just to give this team a chance. Rewatching the Patriots film from last week, they just did not respect the run game whatsoever. The Bengals would line up in true rundown sets and have play action passes or some kind of gimmick scheduled to be ran out of it, and the Patriots wouldn't bite not one bit on the run, and that's because, quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people do respect the Bengals run game, and until they prove that that's the wrong way to think about it, I don't know why teams would change. So I think we'll see a lot more of the same, a lot of light boxes early in the season until the Bengals can prove they can run the ball consistently. Everett Henry, dear friend in the chat, points out a great point. When we get Mims back, where's the holes on this offense? And you're absolutely right. Trent Brown is a clear issue on this offensive line. One of the worst grades last week. He's getting whooped today a little bit, but holding up. Karlaftis had a pressure in the red zone on an earlier Bengals field goal, and then obviously the sack there, both on Trent Brown. Mims sliding back into that right tackle role would be absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect for this team. That's why we drafted him. BJ Hill seen limping back to the locker room with a hamstring injury. He's questionable to return, and that is not news Bengals fans wanted to hear. This defensive line depth is brutal. Losing DJ Reader to free agency, obviously. Miles Murphy out with a knee injury. McKinley Jackson, knee injury. Cam Sample out for the year with an Achilles. McKinley Jackson still out right now from a training camp injury. It's tough. Isaiah Pacheco on 1st down takes it 8 yards. 2nd and 2 for the Chiefs as we get under 4 minutes. Under 4 minutes left in this first half. Zach Carter, Jay Tufele, Sheldon Rankins, Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, your D-line in the game right now on 2nd and 2 for the Bengals. Chiefs hand it off to Pacheco. Stuffed just beyond the sticks. It'll be a first down, but no pressure up front from that defensive line. Zero push. Completely bowing back with any force from the Chiefs' offensive line. Just simply not going to cut it. Just not going to cut it. First and 10. Play action pass. Mahomes looking downfield. Cam Taylor-Britt knocks the ball away. Certainly held my breath. Thought that could have been a flag, but no laundry on the field. Great play by 29. Gets sealed off by Rashee Rice, but works right through his back to knock the ball away. If there's no flags, that means it's great coverage. That's phenomenal coverage. Second and 10 for the Chiefs. Bengals. Carson Steele with the ball. He loses it. Carson Steele lost the ball. Bengals act like they have it. They're pointing. Bengals are pointing. Bengals ball. Bengals ball. Let's go. This defense came to play. 2 turnovers already in the first half, forced by this defense. That's the aggression I wanted to see. Great play, Jermaine Pratt. Punch right on it. Let's go, men. This defense looks legit now. 2 turnovers against a dang good Chiefs offense. Let's go, Jermaine Pratt. Talking all this crap about the linebacking core, and he goes out and makes a play like that? Heck yeah. Bengals taking over. Absolutely amazing play. Just an amazing play. We need 6 here. 6 here, gentlemen. No field goals. Whew. All the worries from the week seem to be out the window now. Now we're just playing football. Boys are just playing football. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. Get our feet under us, calm down. A lot of pressure in week 1 after a healthy offseason. I love it. Absolutely love it. Burrow under center. Pump fakes on the screen. Can't do that. Can't do that. And Eric All gets blown up by Nick Bolton. Whew. If you're going to throw the screen, you got to throw it. Or you got to throw it into the ground. Ted Karras just ran right past Nick Bolton. That play could have maybe developed into something if he would have got that block. But 2nd and 11 for the Bengals after losing one on the completed pass. Always a frustrating. Great ball across the middle. Keep feeding the tight ends. Burrow to Gesicki. 1st and 10 for the Bengals. Let's go down and let's get some points. 2-minute warning just around the corner. And there it is. 2 minutes left in this first half. 13-10. The Bengals are in front. The Bengals have the ball. Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. The Chiefs absolutely should not get the ball back here in the first half. You have 2 minutes left. You're driving. There's no reason to be in a rush here. You got to be methodical. You got to take the ball out of Mahomes' hands. Don't give him more chances than you have to. Milk this clock. Run the timeout. Score before the end of the half. And by score, I mean touchdown. 16-10 is a lot different than 20-10. Got to get the ball across the goal line, hit some pay dirt. It'd feel good. It'd feel good to go into halftime with a 10-point lead. It'd feel good to go into halftime with any kind of lead. I spent all week trying to talk myself into being competitive in this game, and turns out, didn't need to. This team's closer to what we thought they were before the season than what we thought they were after week 1. Competing with the best of the best. This tight end room, Charles H. puts it in our chat. This tight end room, absolutely incredible. Stepped it up big time today. 2 catches for almost 50 yards for Mike Gesicki on 3 targets. Sample, 3 for almost 30. Eric All, 3 for almost 30. That level of production from a relatively unknown wide receiver room outside of Mike Gesicki is absolutely beautiful. That's great. I was focusing on those receivers, Irwin, Yoshivas, Burton, Charlie Jones, to step up and fill that second receiver, second pass catcher role with T. Higgins out, but no. It's going to be the tight end position, and not just one guy. Every guy's going to step up. That's what championship teams do. You fill the hole, next man. Last 2 minutes of the first half coming up right now. (13-10) Bengals inside the 40 at the 35. Burrow lines up in shotgun. Hands off to Chase Brown, who breaks another good run. About 7 yards again on that handoff to Chase Brown. If he's going to keep getting 6-7 yards on every run, then you got to give him the ball more. Kansas City's going to use a timeout here with 154 left in the second quarter. This is Patrick Mahomes' 27th straight home game with a passing touchdown. Regular and postseason, 27 straight games with a passing touchdown in Arrowhead Stadium. That's just preposterous. He's entered this league at a level that we just haven't seen before. Second 4, 1 timeout left for the Bengals, 2 for the Chiefs, 1:54 left in the second half. Burrow and Moss in the backfield. Let it rip, Joe. Let it rip, Joe. Oh. Burrow looking for Burton. down the sideline. Exciting to say that after just running one route last week. You get a shot play to Jermaine Burton down the sideline there. Lands incomplete, just out of bounds. Chiefs were bringing the house, but phenomenal to see Jermaine Burton out there early in the game. Minute 50, 3rd and 4. Burrow drops back to pass again. Just in front of Gesicki, but there's a flag on the play. Chiefs are pointing to the Bengals for a pick play here. It's going to be pass interference on the offense. Trenton Irwin, Mike Gesicki just running a pick play there. Irwin does not do a good job of selling that. Runs straight into the Chiefs' corner. Barely continues his route. That's about as clear as it gets when it comes to offensive PI on a pick play. 3rd and 14 now for the Bengals. 3rd and 14 with 1:47 left in the second half. Absolutely no choice but to drop back and throw this ball. You're at the 39. Be a 56-yard field goal from here, certainly towards the edge of McPherson's distance. Burrow finds Gesicki, who stays in bounds. Great work by Gesicki to stay in bounds there, force the Chiefs to maybe burn another timeout or at least give the Bengals the opportunity to run this full play clock off of the clock before burning a timeout of their own. Chiefs are going to use a timeout here to stop the clock at 1:37. That's going to leave them with one timeout. 4th and 5 for the Bengals. They're going to attempt another field goal. Tony said he's having fun. I'm glad you are, Tony. I'm glad you're having fun. He always has fun when he gets to watch Patrick Mahomes. McPherson getting ready. Taking his steps with 1:37 left. McPherson from the hash, kicks it up and in. Up and in. Great kick by McPherson, no doubt about it. 16-10. Bengals lead with 1:30 left. Would love to have not given the Chiefs that much time. Trace Fowler puts it in the chat, and he's absolutely right. I'm going to tell you a field goal here isn't horrid, but what is horrid is you have KC with 1:50 left. And you have a 2nd and 4, and you don't run the ball once. I absolutely agree. You have to run the ball there. You have to take time off the clock. And you have to give the Chiefs no opportunity to put more points on the board. Take this in either 16-10 or 20-10. But obviously not the case. You kick it back to the Chiefs with about 1:30 left. They still have a timeout in their back pocket. Definitely scary with less than a touchdown lead that they could find a way to get some points on the board here before the end of the half. After the way the Bengals have played this first half, if you end up going into the break, down 17-16. God forbid Chiefs take this down the field in 90 seconds, score a touchdown with that one timeout. That would be a big hit to morale because it's hard to think that the team could play much better than they're playing right now. If the team looked like this last weekend, they would have taken care of the Patriots relatively easily. But, as we know with the Bengals, always need a few weeks to warm up. Hopefully this year it's just one first half of the game today. Just a minute and a half left to go until halftime. Bengals up by 6. A lot of field goals. Just 1 touchdown for the Bengals. Able to get 2 turnovers on defense, which is phenomenal. You have to be that big play defense. We know we don't have the most talented defense. We're not going to, hold teams to the least amount of yards in the league or anything like that. It's a bend and don't break system. You're going to have to capitalize on turnovers. When quarterbacks throw pickable balls, pick them off. When the running back's carrying the ball out here, punch at it. Get a fumble and recover them. Recovering the fumbles you force is absolutely crucial with our defense because you never know how many of those opportunities you're going to have. And when you have 9-1 and hopefully 5 starting next week on offense, you want them on the field as much as possible. Bengals kicking it back to the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, still no catches today. 2 targets for Travis Kelce, but no catches on the day. Bengals need to stop here in the worst way. A minute 33, 1 timeout left for the Chiefs. It's going to be 1st and 10 from their own 30 after the touchback on the new kickoff. I was told this new kickoff was going to get us some fun electric returns, and we were going to change that aspect of the sport, revive the kickoff, revive the kick returner, make it a play again instead of just touchbacks. Awful lot of touchbacks to start. Mahomes drops back and fires. There's Kelce. Maybe I shouldn't have said that stat. 5-yard pass to 87. Clock still rolling on 2nd and 5. Minute and 20 left. Chiefs just 1 timeout remaining. Mahomes finds Justin Watson downfield, just a few yards now away from field goal range, and it's only been about 20 seconds. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Minute and 11 left. And they're already knocking on the door of field goal range. Pass rush gets home? No. Mahomes somehow gets that ball away. Isaiah Pacheco brings it in. Gets out of bounds, I guess. Certainly looked inbounds to me. Trey Hendrickson half a step away. And how is that not a hold? He had him in a chokehold around his neck. Great play by Hendrickson to try to get home. That certainly looks like that clock should still be rolling for me. He had him in a chokehold around his neck. UFC was last night, buddy. That's a penalty. Commercial break with 1 minute and 3 left. Chiefs have the ball. They're reviewing the Mike Hilton hit on Isaiah Pacheco. How that would be a flag, I don't really understand. Reviewing whether Pacheco was in or out of bounds when he caught that ball. Incomplete pass there. Really wouldn't change much. We'll give him a few seconds back on the clock, but Pacheco, a minimal gain. Runner down inbounds means the clock will roll. That is a wonderful break for this Bengals defense. Great play by Mike Hilton to make that happen. Make him come down inbounds. That elbow just barely taps there. Great work by that Bengals sideline to get loud, too, signaling to run the clock. Certainly got in the refs' heads, made them think about it again. 56 seconds and rolling. Chiefs still 1 timeout. Under a minute, clock's rolling. Mahomes drops back. Pressure, and Hendrickson gets home! Hendrickson gets home. There we go, baby. That's what you love to see. 6 pressures last week, never got home. There he does. Wonderful. Great work, Hendrickson. And then great pressure again on 3rd and 19, but Mahomes is able to scramble for about 10 yards. .24 seconds left on the clock. 4th down for the Chiefs. 4th and 11. They're going to try this field goal here. Long field goal attempt. 67, 68-yard field goal attempt for Harrison Butker. 68-yard field goal attempt. Whew. Chiefs burn their last timeout with 24 seconds left. They're going to give Butker a shot. Made one from 66 going this direction in warm-ups. Before he kicks it, everyone in the chat, got to place your bets. Is it going through or is it not? They're not kicking it. Chiefs are lined up to punt. Chiefs are lined up to punt. Defense got to stop. Bengals are going to get the ball back with a timeout and about 15 seconds. Holy cow, what a punt by Matt Arrowhead. What a punt, and what a play by the gunner to jump and throw that ball out of the end zone. That's almost a perfect punt. He jumps in from outside, hits it back out of the end zone. I hate the Chiefs just as much as everyone else, but you got to respect a perfect football play. That's about as perfectly executed as it gets. If I'm the Bengals, I would have loved to have the touchback and take a shot, but I'm not even thinking about it. I'm taking knees. There's under 20 seconds left. I'm taking a knee right here, and I'm going to halftime up 6 in Kansas City against the Chiefs. You're going to have to hand it off. You're going to have to hand this ball off and get out of the end zone. But don't try to do anything else. Don't try to be a hero. It certainly looks like they have the ball much closer to the goal line than where it was downed at. The ball's at the 1 or inside the 1. The gunner down the ball at about the 2.5 yard line on the punt. At least I certainly seemed like it did. Bengals seemingly get screwed by field position here. Putting the ball at the 1, that doesn't make any sense to me. That was clearly at the 2 or 3. This is a scary snap. Take the delay of game because it literally does not move you at all. And now run a play. If you were able to get him to jump there, then you just take a knee and end the half. You just got to make sure this ball leaves the end zone. Ball's out of the end zone. And we are going to halftime. Halftime score in Arrowhead, in Burrowhead, is 16-10. Bengals in control. Great stop to end the half, forced the Chiefs to punt. Bengals haven't been able to capitalize with touchdowns all game. Just one touchdown, a short pass at the front of the end zone to Andre Yoshivas. Other than that, all field goals for this Bengals offense. The Chiefs, a bomb to Rashee Rice, a methodical first drive where the Bengals stuck up and held them to a field goal inside the 5-yard line. And other than that, they really haven't been able to move the ball much at all, whatsoever. That first half couldn't have gone much better for the Bengals, especially after last week. I was terrified for this game. As the week went on, I was able to talk myself into it. I was able to get really excited about this game. I did take the Bengals spread and the money line and all that good stuff. Talked myself all the way in, and they came to play. They're proving me right. I thought there was a chance I'd look stupid betting on the Bengals after the way they looked last week. But alas, they come and they deliver. Taking a glance around the league now that it's halftime, a lot of interesting results in the early window today. A lot of teams that, after week one, I thought were fluky, but maybe they're legit. And I think the first and foremost is a team and a quarterback that I owe an apology to. It's the New Orleans Saints. Saints go into Dallas, win 44-19. Whew! That offense looks legit with Derek Carr. I think Clint Kubiak's definitely the favorite to win a Coordinator of the Year his first year as the play caller in New Orleans. They look phenomenal. And the Cowboys fall. The Cowboys fall at home. Dak Prescott looks all right, but throws a couple picks. Doesn't give his team a chance. And then the biggest upset of this weekend so far by a mile is the Ravens falling to the Raiders. And if you thought that the Patriots were a bad team to lose to early in the season for the Bengals, and don't get me wrong, they definitely are, the Raiders are absolutely in that same group. The Patriots put out a great fight today. They looked like they were a pretty competent team at least, and yeah, they just went and stunk it up in Baltimore. Their home opener, Las Vegas comes in and gets the job done. Gardner Minshew at quarterback. When you have Devontae Adams, it makes playing quarterback a little bit easier, but he certainly didn't look great. But they get out of there with a win, 26-23. The Raiders escape Baltimore. It was actually an incredible comeback. Scored 20 points in the third and fourth quarter, 20 points in the second half to win that game, 26-23. Incredible effort from the Raiders. This is by far my least favorite setup for an NFL slate. 3 late games is ridiculous. I obviously appreciate it because I'm here and I love you all, and I'm glad that you guys are all watching this with me and I can just lock in on the Bengals game, but having a 3-game slate is ridiculous to me. You have 16 games going on today. You have 3 games in the afternoon? That's insane. That's insane, but that made for a phenomenal early slate. We started off, Scott Hansen gave us a DECA box on Red Zone, and that really got the juices flowing for today. That's how I knew the Bengals were ready to go. You give me a DECA box on game day, we'll be excited. Elsewhere around the league, Malik Willis picks up the win at home against the Colts, 16-10. Anthony Richardson, another Anthony Richardson game, I guess is the way I would put that. He actually completed a couple passes this time, 17 completions on 34 attempts. He loves to hover right around that 50% mark, if not a little bit below, but big-time plays during the day, a touchdown, but the thing that did them in, 3 interceptions for AR, 3 interceptions. Just incredibly upsetting from a quarterback that has a lot of potential, but you just haven't seen it yet. He makes more highlight plays than maybe anyone in the entire league, but when it comes to a standard hitch or a drag or any throw shorter than 50 yards, he really struggles. If you can figure that out, he has the hard parts of the game mastered. It's the easy parts that he struggles with. Sir Boy Wonder puts in the chat, the Giants stink. Brother, you're exactly right. They're terrible. But I'll tell you one thing, Malik Neighbors looks pretty good. Malik Neighbors looks legit. He's a special, special player, and if they're at the top of the draft this year, like I expect them to be, they're going to have a new quarterback next year, not named Daniel Jones. And I think Malik Neighbors is going to take off in his sophomore season, if he doesn't already, if he doesn't this year. He had a great game today, catching his first NFL touchdown. He looked phenomenal as their dominant number one receiver. And hopefully more of that from him. Carolina continues to look like the worst team ever created. Just 3 points today, and Bryce Young continues to be questionable at best. I mean, I love Bryce. I still have at least somewhat amounts of faith in him being a capable NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be an MVP candidate or turn that franchise around or anything, but I just have a hard time believing he's this bad. But 18 to 26 for 84 yards. 84 yards? It's insane. So bad. Marvin Harrison finally putting it together. Chat giving me some good news about Marvin Harrison. 4 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Woo-hoo! There we go, Marv. Cardinals up 34-3 on the Rams. Dang, if only you guys had a friend that could have told you the Cardinals might be fun to watch this year. Oh, wait. It's me. It's a fun team. It's a fun team to watch. The offense looks good. The defense needs to step up, but the Cardinals are a fun team to watch this year. And if Kyler can put it all together, play at that high level that we've seen him play at before, not really for much sustained time, but he has those flashes. If he can string it together, have a few great games together, they can rattle off some wins. I think they can sneak into the NFC playoffs. I picked them to be there before the season. I really like a lot of the pieces on that team, especially if Marvin Harrison is playing at this level. 4 catches for 130 yards. It's incredible. They're smoking the Rams right now, 34-3. They had a lead that they blew against the Bills last week, but they still showed a lot of good things. This Cardinals team's good. Mark Fetters, they're worried about Marv's speed. They were also worried that Jamar Chase couldn't catch, and I think he turned out all right, if memory serves. I'm not going to freak out about one of the best college receivers I've ever seen having a low miles per hour in his first game in the NFL. I think we're going to be okay on the Marvin Harrison front. Big game tonight. Big game on tap tonight. Bears and Texans. CJ Stroud, obviously the poster boy for what you want your early round rookie quarterback to do in his rookie year. An incredible season last season. And so far, he's kept it rolling into this season. He looked great in week 1, and if he can do it again, the sky's the limit for that Texans offense if CJ Stroud's playing like he can play. I do hope that Caleb can step it up. I am a Caleb believer. I know there's plenty of people that are not. I do think Caleb's going to step it up tonight, and he's going to play well. CJ Stroud struggled in his first game, his rookie year, and then he threw for over 340 yards in his second game, and I think it's going to be not quite as drastic of a change for Caleb. He's still going to struggle tonight, don't get me wrong. Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen both going to be out, but I really do think that he's going to put on a show tonight and at least show us a glimpse of what a lot of people expected him to do coming in to the NFL as a rookie. Casey asks, what's the biggest shocker of the week so far? I would say the Saints. The Saints are the biggest shocker of the NFL season so far. The biggest shocker of today, to me, is the Raiders. I think the Raiders are a really bad team. I picked the Ravens in my survivor pool, so that's absolutely brutal to be out in week 2. And the Raiders got the win in the home opener for the Ravens after the Ravens just took this Chiefs team that I think everyone would probably agree is in that top echelon, if not the best team in the league this year. They just took them down to the wire and were half a cleat size away from beating them, or at least taking it to overtime and having a chance. Them turning around and losing to the Raiders when they should be hungrier than ever really, really shocks me. Still halftime in Kansas City. Bengals hoping to have more of the same in the second half. Bengals did start with the ball. That's how they got out to a 3-0 lead. That first drive, they drove down, kicked a field goal. That does obviously mean the Chiefs will get the ball to start this half. Down less than a touchdown. Seems like the Bengals have been in control almost this entire game. But still just a touchdown. Could give the Chiefs the lead. It's honestly a little bit surprising when you look at it. That after all that great play, it's just one play, one touchdown pass would put us back in a deficit, which is such a shame. But the defense looks good. Keep forcing turnovers. Keep forcing punts. Keep playing hard. Bengals commercial on the TV, and Miles Murphy, one of the first 4 or 5 players that they show, could not be more excited to get him back healthy. When he comes back to this team, if he can contribute the way we thought he was going to contribute when we drafted him in the first round, this pass rush is going to be a different animal. First half stats, really pretty close for the two teams. Chiefs, one more total yard than the Bengals. Incredibly balanced, 93 passing yards to 91 rushing yards. The Bengals, lopsided as ever, but that's what they do. 140 passing yards, 36 rushing yards. The Bengals have ran 2 more plays than the Chiefs. Same amount of first downs. Same amount of penalty yards. Chiefs, obviously, the 2 turnovers, but these two teams are incredibly evenly matched so far. The 2 turnovers are what's changing things, and that's why the Bengals have the lead right now, but this game's been really, really close in every statistical aspect. I'm getting antsy now, waiting through halftime. It's amazing how much the discussions around this team would change if we're able to pull this game out. Coming back to Kansas City now. Another overhead angle of beautiful Arrowhead Stadium. It's a great place to watch a game. I absolutely hate the Chiefs, just like everyone else, but man, oh man, Arrowhead's a really, really cool spot to watch a football game. That crowd gets loud. It's crazy. Bengals kick it away. Ball's in the air to start the second half. Bengals up 6. McPherson sends it into the end zone. Chiefs will just take a knee. I don't know what the actual goal of the new kickoff was. I know they kept saying it'll revive the kickoff play, bring back the return into the game, and if that truly was the only goal, then I don't know if it's working, because it certainly looks like it's not. B.J. Hill has officially been ruled out for the remainder of the game for the Bengals. A hamstring injury earlier. He went back to the locker room. He has now been ruled out for the Bengals today. He got injured last week as well. Was able to practice this week, able to return to start tonight, but not going to be able to tough it out to get through the game. Joe Burrow in the first half, 140 passing yards, 113 of those to the tight end position. The most in his career. Burrow on the sideline. Mahomes with the ball in his hands. Fires out to Worthy on a bubble screen, who just simply runs. The burst speed once he gets the ball in his hands is unbelievable. Turns upfield, converts the first down, just gets right around Logan Wilson. The Chiefs are so creative with getting their playmakers the ball. Xavier Worthy swings, gets upfield. They just give their good players the ball in space. And what more do you want? BJ Hill getting an X-ray, according to the broadcast. Hopefully nothing serious. That would be a major, major loss for this Bengals defense long term. It's simply one we probably can't withstand. First and 10, Kansas City. Chat's overjoyed with the limited Taylor Swift viewing. I have to say I agree. Only been on the screen once or twice. It's refreshing. Handoff on first down to Pacheco, and he breaks through a crowded middle for 9.5 yards. Pacheco's such a patient runner. Such a strong runner. He just doesn't get knocked off platform. Contact there in the middle, and he's able to just keep running through it. It doesn't matter. Able to get 9 yards out of basically nothing. Second and 1 for the Chiefs after the 9-yard Pacheco scamper. Mahomes bounces it to Xavier Worthy. On second and 1, third and 1. Can the defense strengthen up here? Getting this ball back would be phenomenal. Worthy just slipped. Too fast for his own good. Messing with his thigh, calf, hamstring, certainly stretching his lower body on the sideline. Direct snap to Pacheco. He might not have gotten it. This is going to come down to the spot. But I don't think he got it. They got him short. Fourth down, 4th and inches. Let's go, defense. Get this ball back. Direct snap to Isaiah Pacheco. Doesn't matter that our starting D lineman's in the locker room for the rest of the game. Pratt, Hubbard, Wilson. That's team defense right there. Both teams 1 for 1 on 4th down conversions, 4th and less than 1. The Chiefs definitely going for it here. 3 backs in the backfield around Mahomes. A handoff up the gut. And Steele is able to find enough space and squeeze through for a first down. The Chiefs now 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions today. Carson Steele getting some legitimate reps. More carries than I expected for non-Pacheco running backs, but certainly an interesting wrinkle to this Chiefs offense that we haven't seen in the past. Mahomes fakes the handoff, rolls out. Hendrickson chasing. He's able to get a hand on his back and force him out of bounds. It's going to be second and 3 after the 7-yard run for Mahomes. Hendrickson is so close to affecting this game on every play. He's just a step slow, a step behind. Obviously got home for the 1 sack, but should really have so much more. Logan Wilson tries to slide under the block and fails. Pacheco goes around. Down to the 12-yard line now. Deja vu from last year, over 130 total yards for Pacheco in the matchup last year between the Chiefs and Bengals, and then this year, certainly trending that way. Just a nice slip screen there. And Pacheco's able to make something out of nothing. $88 total yards for Pacheco, 67 on the ground, 21 through the air. And they'll go back to him because why not? And he'll get 8 yards. If you're the Chiefs, I understand you have Patrick Mahomes. I understand you have exciting pieces on the outside that you love. You have Travis Kelce, and you want to use them. But if you're going to be able to run the ball like this, why would you do anything else? You're just not even making contact with Pacheco until he's 3-4 yards downfield. Carson Steele gets the ball in 2nd and 2, falls forward again. Seems like he's going to be marked short of the first down. No, they're going to give it to him. 1st and goal. 1st and goal for the Chiefs. 9 minutes. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Big-time subs on defense for the Bengals. Mahomes finds Kelce, who reaches for the end zone, but marked down on the 1-yard line. Kelce down on the 1-yard line. A tight end screen on the goal line. Just bend, don't break. Let's do it again, defense. Chiefs on the 1-yard line. Oh, no. Sheldon Rankins is down. Already losing B.J. Hill in this game. Losing Sheldon Rankins would be detrimental. I mean, they're already running the ball all over this front seven. And if you're without your 2 best interior D linemen, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? 5.2 yards per carry for this Chiefs offense so far. And we're going to be out of defensive linemen. Quite literally out of defensive linemen. This comes back to roster construction. If I can sit down here on cut day on Chatterbox Bengals and say, hey, this defensive line depth is like 1 injury away from being a really big problem, why can't the front office recognize that? Go make some moves to give you some more wiggle room. If Rankins is hurt here, I quite honestly don't even know who's going to be in the game. Chris Jenkins had surgery on his thumb. He's out for a few more weeks. B.J. Hill obviously left earlier in the game. This is, just brutal. There's a few positions on this team that we cannot afford injuries on, and the headliner of that list is defensive line. There's just no wiggle room, and we've now seen the 2 sure things, if you will, in that room go down in one game. Rankins down on the field being tended to right before we went to commercial there. Headed back now. Hopefully get an update on his status for the rest of the day or even in the future. Like we've said before, B.J. Hill already out of the game today with a hamstring injury. Rankins standing on the sideline. No helmet. Big man touchdown. We just got O-line touchdown. Patrick Mahomes finds number 64, Wanya Morris in the end zone for a touchdown. It is 16-16, pending the field goal for the Chiefs to take the lead. That's correct, Casey. Great point that he made that a lot of people might not recognize. The only two active defensive tackles we have left are Jay Tufele and Zach Carter, which means if Rankins is out, there's no more transitions on that defensive line. Those two guys are locked and loaded for the remainder of the game. And now it is a game you are trailing. 17-16, the Chiefs on top, 8:21 left in the third quarter. The Bengals are going to have to answer. The Bengals are going to have to get the ball back and go down the field and answer. And no more field goals. No more field goals. Get downfield and score touchdowns. The Bengals are gonna have to score on most drives the rest of this game to have a chance, I think. I just don't know how you're gonna be able to stop the run if you couldn't do it with BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins so far in this game. Obviously BJ Hill's been out for a while, but without both of those guys, the Bengals are gonna have to capitalize when they have the ball in their hands. Touchback again, just like every other kickoff so far today. Another touchback. Bengals ball at the 30 when we come back. It's 8 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Bengals down by 1, 16-17. Up 6 at halftime. Chiefs take the ball downfield and score. Bengals have a 1st and 10 at the 30. Burrow play action to Moss. He loads up. He fires deep. Oh my God, Jermaine! Burton! Been asking where he is. We have been wondering where Jermaine Burton is because he can do that. If we did that once or twice against the Patriots, maybe we win the game. There we go, Jermaine. That's DBA right there. Hell yeah, 81. That's what I'm talking about. First career NFL reception, 47-yard bomb. That's why you take that talent in the third round. Bengals let a lot of air out of their tires by fumbling the snap on first down. It's going to be 2nd and 12, but man, what a great play. What a great play. Can't have snap miscues. Just simply can't have it. Karras and Burrow have been here together for plenty of time now that should not even be in the cards. Burrow 14-22 for 188 yards and a touchdown. 2nd and 12 now for the Bengals from the 25-yard line going into the end zone. Burrow drops back. He finds Gesicki, who makes a man miss. Gets upfield, spins back with one of the slowest spin moves I've ever seen. Nick Bolton brings him down, but a great catch and run for Gesicki gives us a 3rd and 2. Third reception for Gesicki today that's gone over 10 yards. 10 yards or more. That's incredible production from the wide receiver position or tight end position. 11 targets, 10 receptions, 123 yards for the tight ends today. That is incredible. How long have Bengals fans been clamoring for more production out of that tight end room? And now we're finally getting it. Chiefs moving around quite a bit on defense. Burrow takes the ball in shotgun, scrambles, gets away from the pressure, pulls the linebacker with him for the first down. Give him the celly, Joe. You're still here, baby. What a run. Way to get it done. That's a big boy play. That's a big boy play up the middle right there. Karlaftis in his face. No. Nick Bolton gets him 2 yards before the first down marker. Doesn't matter. Dragging you with me. Hell yeah, 9. Not afraid to take a hit? You're a football player. They get hit. Now let's get a touchdown. No field goals. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Hand off to Zach Moss. 9 yards. 2nd and 1 inside the 5. This is a phenomenal drive by this Bengals offense. Exactly what I wanted to see today is this offense moving the ball downfield and relieving a lot of those concerns from last week, and they're doing so far. Justin Reed coming out of the game holding his hand. He left the game earlier with an upper body injury. This could be a re-aggravation here, but obviously a great player in that secondary for the Chiefs. Bengals 2nd and 2 now. Keep pounding the football. Keep pounding the rock. Just under 5 minutes and ticking here in the third quarter. 2nd and 2 from the 3. More like 2nd and 1. A handoff up the gut to Zach Moss. He cuts back but slips. This first down is going to come down to the spot. A lot of pushing and shoving in the pile, seemingly after every play between this defensive line and the offensive line, and it doesn't even matter who's on offense. Just a lot of extracurriculars going on today between these two teams, and Jamar said it best this week. We don't like them, and they don't like us. So that was kind of to be expected. Zach Moss slipped on that cutback, but he was able to keep his knees off the ground, not get tagged down. 3rd and 1 after the spot. Does not give the Bengals a first down. 3rd and 1. But we're going to get a measurement first. And this is the perfect time to bring up one of my favorite things in football, and it's the chains. I know there's an ability to do it this far away. This far away. 3rd and inches for the Bengals. I love that we still use the chains. It's a fun little wrinkle. Third and inches. Cannot keep settling. 4 field goals. Down a point here. Need to get in the end zone. We've ran the QB sneak on short yardage before today. 2nd and 1. A 3rd and 1. And the Bengals burn a timeout. Play clock gets down to 5. Bengals burn a timeout on 3rd and inches. Crucial play, don't get me wrong, but using your timeouts with 4 minutes left in the third quarter is certainly a choice. Didn't have one there, taking the play clock down, but losing that timeout there could definitely come back to bite the Bengals later in this game. Everyone, while you're here hanging out with us today, make sure you like the stream. Just give it a little thumbs up right down there next to the chat while you're watching. More likes mean more yards. More yards mean more points. More points mean more Bengals wins. So keep liking the stream. Send it to your friends. Have them join us. More the merrier. Love to have all you guys here. Thank you for watching. And make sure you like the stream. 3rd and inches for the Bengals. Joe Burrow takes the QB sneak. He definitely gets the first down. Burrow's helmet popped off. He got smacked right through the middle, and then he got crunched. He got crunched by Leo Chenal. Crunched. But a great way to find that hole and make sure you get the first down. He falls right in between. I think he got it fairly easily. Bringing the chains out again. And by the nose of the football, he gets it. First and goal for the Bengals. Banging on the door, down just 1 point with 3:45 left to go in this third quarter. Both that Zach Moss spot and the Joe Burrow spot seemed well short of where they both got. I thought Zach Moss got the first down and Burrow got it much clearer than that, but not the case. First and goal from just outside the one, about the 1.5 yard line. Burrow drops back to throw, fires it well over Trenton Irwin's head, out the back of the end zone. Second and goal now from the 1. I don't know why you're going away from the run game here. You have 1 yard to score. I know they're loading the box, but you're an NFL football team. Get some push and get a yard. You had Jamar Chase one-on-one on the outside, running a little whip route, and he just wasn't able to get separation. That's certainly where Burrow was looking to go with the ball. And just unable to win one-on-one on the outside. And now I see that known Bengals hater Trace Fowler puts it in the chat as well. Yeah, no, that's a point you want Jamar to win. One-on-one on the outside on the goal line. Bengals go back to the run, pitch it to Zach Moss, who cannot get back to the line. Losing a yard or two. It's going to be third and goal now. East to west running when you're on the 1 yard line is never something I'll understand. Run it up the gut. Run forward. Don't run sideways. Two for two in third down conversions this drive, and none were even close to as big as this one. Third and goal. Down 1. Late in the third quarter. Both teams long, methodical drives here in the third quarter. Burrow in shotgun. Moss next to him. Moss stays in to block. Now releases. Burrow scrambles around, trying to find somebody. Makes a man miss. Lets the ball go. Incomplete. Trenton Irwin has his hands up asking for a flag, but he's not going to get it. Fourth and goal for the Bengals now. Decision time for Zach Taylor. I think you at least have the conversation about going for this. You can't bank on getting down here every drive. You just have to have a better play called than you've ran the last 3 times. Fourth and goal, and by the crowd shots of them getting rowdy, the Bengals are leaving them guys out there to go for it. Oh, this is making me anxious. Joe Burrow in the shotgun takes the ball, drops back. Yoshi! 2 touchdowns on the day for the touchdown kid. All he does is score, and he does it again. Andre Yoshivas with a touchdown on fourth and goal. Burrow just buys enough time to find the open man. That is incredible. We needed these guys to step up, and now they're all doing it. Gesicki looks great. Yoshi looks great. Burton's in there on the goal line. He's open on a crosser. Let's go. We needed this. We needed this. 22-17, pending the extra point, 2:15 left. And McPherson hooks the extra point. McPherson hooks the extra point, 22-17. Bengals, after the missed extra point, only get 6 there. 5-point lead certainly could come back to bite them. But we'll find out. We'll find out if it does. But that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Kickers win games. I don't know if Everett Henry's in the chat today, but if he is, that's the guy who's loudest about it. Kickers win games. And missed extra points can lose you games. The Bengals look good in every facet of the game today. The Chiefs have not been able to get consistent pressure, which was my main concern. The wide receivers outside of that Rashee Rice bomb, they haven't been able to consistently win on the outside. Travis Kelce has done virtually nothing today. I'm ecstatic with how this Bengals team is playing in every facet of the game. Burrow 16 of 26, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 6.5 yards per carry. Granted, just 2 touches, but great explosion from him. Zach Moss would love a little bit more on the average, but you're doing what we ask you to do. You're converting the short yardage when we need you to. That's as important as it gets. Gesicki, what more do you want? Jermaine Burton, what more do you want? Drew Sample, phenomenal. Eric All, phenomenal. Jamar Chase, lackluster. 2 catches for 18 yards. Just 3 targets today. Certainly not what I would have expected his stat line to be with the Bengals with a 5-point lead late in the third quarter. If we were going to win this game, I thought a lot of that was going to fall on his shoulders, but the other guys are stepping up. Take what the defense gives you, and if they're going to take away Jamar, we have other options. And they're proving that those other options are actually viable now. Mahomes is struggling. 13 of 17 for 119 yards. Obviously, he's just doing what he has to do because they've been so dominant on the ground, and he has 30 yards on the ground as well, over 7 yards per carry there, and that's obviously giving them a chance to win here. They're just down 5, but certainly not the gaudy numbers we've grown to expect from Patrick Mahomes. I mean, 300 yards against, almost 300 yards, on the doorstep of 300 yards against a defense that's unanimously viewed as one of the best in the league in the Ravens in week 1, and then coming here against a Bengals defense that has notably struggled over the last few years. And we're 2 minutes away from the fourth quarter, and you're under 120 passing yards. That's a great news for this Bengals defense to be playing like this, especially the back end. They really struggled early last week. They're playing well. Need more from the front, need more against the run, but this defense looks good so far. Team's stepping up in areas we needed them to. Mahomes takes the ball on first down, hands it to Pacheco, and he just always finds space. Hit it about the line of scrimmage, but falls forward for a gain of 3 or 4. It's going to be second down now for the Chiefs. 2nd and 6. 2 minutes to go in the third. Bengals up 5 instead of 6. Thanks to an Evan McPherson missed extra point. Chiefs back on offense trying to answer. Pass to Rashee Rice. Short little bubble screen, and Mike Hilton, Logan Wilson combined to bring him down for a short gain. It's going to be 3rd and 4. If the Bengals can force a 3 and out here, obviously a lot of ifs, but you force the 3 and out here, you go down and score, you're feeling as good as you can feel with this clock ticking down. Going to probably get into the fourth quarter here soon. Minute 15. 3rd and 4. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense on the 35-yard line. Sends Xavier Worthy in motion. Mahomes drops back. He fires deep. Picked! Yeah! DJ Turner! I hate Michigan, but I love those Michigan men if they're going to come to the Bengals and help them win. There's a flag on the play. There is a flag on the play. Travis Kelce signaling that it is against the Bengals. Illegal contact on the defense. That pick is coming back, folks. That pick's coming back. Chiefs maintain the ball, and it is 3rd down. The rookie, Dejon Anthony, lined up with Travis Kelce. Just playing physical defense. Did grab onto the jersey. Definitely a penalty based on the letter of the law. But, man, that's tough. That's really, really tough. 5 penalties for 25 yards today for the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson could not have been held more. Another choke slam, but this time they got the flag out of their pocket. Thank God. Because if that wouldn't have been called, I would have lost my mind. Kingsley Suamatia, the rookie tackle for Kansas City, has his hands full with Trey Hendrickson. Straight up chokehold. Absolutely ridiculous. Glad they finally called one. First and 20 now as the clock ticks down. 45 seconds left in the third quarter. Mahomes takes the ball, shotgun, fires, and caught. Caught by Wiley. Under 10 seconds here in the third. We'll see if the Chiefs take it to the quarter or hike it again before they hike it with 1 second on the clock. It'll be the last play of the third quarter. Mahomes fires deep. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! Cam! Cam! Bull don't lie! That's the pick of the That's the best pick of the year! That's the best pick ever! CTB, baby! I take it all back. I take everything back I said earlier in the game. Talk as much crap as you want. If you're going to make plays like that, like your prime Odell Beckham out here having one-handed picks against Mahomes and the Chiefs. Oh! Former Husker, current Bengal, future star. Pick of the year, pick of the decade, call it whatever you want. Oh my gosh! Woo! CTB, man! We have a corner. We have a number one corner. Such a great, great thing to have for a team that's trying to win a championship. Oh, that's so exciting. What a catch! That is unbelievable. Oh, that's unbelievable. That is insane. Holy cow. I'm trying to find a replay of that right now. Oh my gosh. I think I love this defense now. I think I just love this defense. We're going to let teams drive 90 yards, get in the red zone, then we'll hold them to a field goal, and then we'll force 3 turnovers a game. Hell yeah. Sign me up. Get me pen and paper. Oh, Cam. What an unbelievable play. Unbelievable play. I'm going to watch that interception 40 times. That better make SC top 10. No, Blackmore. That better be number 1. If anything else is number 1, they're doing it wrong. Let's go. This couldn't feel better than it does right now. Here's a slow motion replay on the broadcast. Holy cow. Oh, stuck it. Makes me feel even better that it was against... Oh, Odell. That Odell catch is incredible. Makes me feel even better that it was Cam guarding Xavier Worthy. After talking all that bull junk this week. That's an unbelievable play. Unbelievable play. Holy cow. That's unbelievable. Bengals ball, we got to focus up. We got to lock in. Burrow's firing, and Gesicki drops it. After praising this tight end room all day, Gesicki drops the ball there. Would have been first down, maybe a little bit more. Great throw by Burrow. Gesicki just drops it. Mark Fetters with a super chat. Thank you so much, Mark. $5 super chat from Mark. Make him pay for that mistake, and he's exactly right. Field goals don't win games, and if you get turnovers, you have to get points off of them. So, absolutely need to punch it in here. Couldn't agree more, Mark. Hopefully they do so. Can't believe Gesicki dropped that after playing so well all day today. Burrow just throws the ball into the ground. Takes the incompletion, forces a 3rd and 10. That's a veteran play right there. We've seen over the last few weeks Will Levis get in precarious situations and then throw the ball right to the other team. Not Joe Burrow. Sees a play not develop, and he just takes the incompletion, cuts his losses. That's what a good quarterback does. Chris Jones messing with his knee, seemingly limping a little bit after that play. Burrow in the shotgun, drops back. Oh, the ball pops out, but Joe was down. Joe was down. He had to have been down. He had to have been down. He had to have been, physically he had to have been down. There's no way he wasn't down. Chris Jones just whoops Cordell Volson. That's not a great angle. I can't see the ball, but it certainly looks like he's down. Of course, Tony thinks it's a Chiefs touchdown. That's a fumble. That's a fumble. That's a fumble. Chiefs are going for 2 to take a 3-point lead. Mahomes takes the snap. Rolls out, tries to find anyone. Incomplete pass. Chiefs just up 1. 23-22 after the failed 2-point conversion. Mark said it best as soon as we got that interception. Have to capitalize. Have to get points off of it. And then you do the exact opposite and hand the ball away. Chiefs score and take the lead, 23-22, but Joe knows that's on him, and he's going to go out there and he's going to go drive us down the field and we're going to score. That's what's going to happen. Joe's going to go out there, he's going to drive down the field, we're going to score. Dang. How does that ball come out? Ugh. Chiefs going for 2 is big. Should say Chiefs going for 2 and not getting it is big. Down 1 point, 14-40. Left to go in the fourth quarter. Down 1. Have to keep the foot on the gas. Cannot let up. I cannot believe that ball popped out. I just can't believe it. I mean, you had an opportunity to put the game away, and you don't. Because Chris Jones whoops the interior D-line or O-line so bad that Burrow has to run for his life. Casey says he's anxious. If this camera went below the desk, you would see my legs tapping at a rate previously unknown to man. I am Freaking out right now. The way this team has played today, this is just not a game you can lose. It's just not a game you can lose. Up until that play, you've played almost perfectly. You just gotta catch this kickoff, run down the field, and score. Just go score. 14 minutes left, take 9 of them, and go score. Butker getting crafty, forcing a return by Chase Brown, trying to find a seam, unable to do so. Bengals gain 3 yards net from a touchback. Will take over from the 33. I cannot believe that ball is out. I don't know whether that's unlucky or the best play of 98's career. But it's one of the two. Burrow under center here, 1st and 10 from the 33. Handoff to Chase Brown, who busts off Ted Karras' back and is able to find 5-6 yards. 2nd down. How does that happen? Twelve and a half yards per completion for the Bengals today. 14 first downs. Both much, much, much better numbers than last week. Burrow dumps it off to Zach Moss, who breaks the tackle. And that's why you signed Zach Moss, ladies and gentlemen. Wrapped up in the backfield on 2nd down, and he's able to shake the guy off and run for a first. Mark Fetters asks, is Jamar Chase on this team? I think at this point that's probably a valid question. Just 2 targets today. 3 targets today. Pardon me. 2 catches for 18 yards on 3 targets. And of those 18 yards, one was a 12-yard catch. So not a whole lot of production out of number 1 today, but everyone else on the offensive side of the ball has been stepping it up. Zach Moss able to get 3. He is absolutely just a ball player. That's what he does. 2.9 yards per carry today, but that does not tell the whole story. He's getting the job done. Just 57 rushing yards for the Bengals compared to 134 for the Chiefs. Incredibly lopsided numbers on the ground. Jamar Chase in motion across the formation. Have to wonder if they're going to get him involved here soon. Burrow takes it in the gun. There we go. There we go, number 1. 3rd catch of the day. There we go. If Jamar Chase has 2 catches for my football team with 12 minutes left in the 4th quarter, I would run 3 or 4 plays consecutively that just go to Jamar Chase. You have to unlock this guy in order to have a chance to beat the really good teams. I know we're hanging around here, but we're still down. You got to use your great players. Burrow rolls out. It's going to be a hold on Orlando Brown. Burrow gets a yard or 2, but it is going to be a hold. Orlando had a great week last week. First penalty of this week for him. First penalty of the season for him, I believe. Chiefs just sniffed out that play call, just like Tony said. No screen there available for the taking. And when your screen gets blown up, you lose the ability to do a whole lot else out of there. Good on Burrow to try to save a few yards, but the hold nullifies it. 1st and 20 Burrow to Gesicki, who front flip somersault hurdles the DB. That was cool and athletic. Good for Gesicki. Little jump somersault spin. It's going to be 2nd and 12 for the Bengals. Second and 11. Gesicki now over 75 receiving yards today. Great production out of him, even with those drops. 3 seconds on the play clock. Burrow trying to get the ball off. He does. Finds Jamar, who is unable to make a man miss. Begging for a flag, but not going to get one. Still screaming at the ref, Jamar is. And it's going to be a flag on Jamar for running his mouth to the ref in a game where you're down 1 and you're trying to win a football game. You're going to get a flag for talking back to the ref. Burrow irate about it in his face. God, man. You just can't do that. You just can't do that. 3rd and 22 for the Bengals now. Now over 50 yards in penalties. That's just not winning football. Unnecessary penalties is not winning football. Burrow finds Gesicki at the 40, gets down to about the 35. It's going to be 4th down. God, man. How do you do that? These last 2 drives are infuriating. Infuriating. McPherson missed the PAT, but 3 for 3 on field goals today. If he can bang this 53-yarder through, we will take the lead. Zach Taylor trying to talk Jamar Chase off the ledge over there on the sideline, but he is still hot. McPherson loads up and kicks. Boom. Couldn't have been more good. Middle. Love to see it. 25-23 Bengals. Jamar is still hot on the sideline. Threw his helmet after the play. Jeez. Jamar's attitude is going to be something to keep an eye on when the Bengals offense gets back on the field. Very few kickers in the league better than McPherson. Very, very few. Very, very few people in this league better than McPherson at kicker. He's as reliable as he gets. It feels really, really good to have a kicker go out there as a football fan and just more often than not have faith that he's going to knock it through. That's a great way to ease the nerves of a game. Kickers do win games. Kickers are the difference between winning and losing more often than not, and the Bengals got it right. I mean, Jamar has to be McPherson's biggest fan right now. If McPherson missed that kick, that penalty will be talked about for a lot longer than it will now. It's still going to be talked about, but if he would have truly cost the team points, under 10 minutes now left in the game. I'm going to have to watch that playback because if we find out Jamar didn't even get face masked there, I sure hope he did. I sure hope it was a missed call. Not that that makes it any better, but I sure hope it was a missed call. Bengals up 2, 25-23 with just under 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Steele takes a knee in the end zone. 9.5 minutes. Chiefs will get the ball at the 30. What flag did Jamar want there? I really don't know what flag Jamar wanted there. That's a weird preview or a weird replay. No face mask or anything. On first down, Pacheco gets 3 yards. He wanted a hip drop tackle penalty. I've watched a lot of NFL football through these 2 weeks. Haven't seen one of those called yet. Hendrickson gets home! There we go, 91. 2 for the kid today. Hubbard right there as well. Great pass rush from this Bengals defense. 91 came to play. 91 always comes to play. Welcome to the league, rookie. I'm Trey Hendrickson, and I'm going to take down your quarterback. Love to see that. Two sacks for 14 total lost yards by Trey Hendrickson today. That's a difference maker. Flag in the backfield. Looks like it's going to be holding on the Chiefs. Mahomes does find Kelsey, who is running for a long ways. Stiff arms Cam Taylor-Britt, goes down inside the 30, but I think this one's coming back. It is. Holding on the offense. Kingsley Suamatia, the rookie tackle. And it'll bring the ball back. But Sheldon Rankins down again. Sheldon Rankins came back into the game a few drives ago. Now he's hurt again, being tended to on the field. Certainly not good for the Bengals. Eight minutes to go. Whew. This is what you want when you get two of the NFL's best playing each other. You want a game that's going down to the wire with everyone playing well, not close because of flukes or mistakes or anything like that. This is a game with two teams playing at the top of their level and executing. It's refreshing. It's great to see. Every time you get a big game like this, there's always the worry of being let down just because of, what the expectations are going in. You're expecting, all the star players to perform, the energy to be high, but not always the case. And today it is. Both these teams are playing A games or at least close to it. And we're going down to the wire. 7.5 minutes left in a 2-point game. Certainly would be nice to have that field goal or that extra point right now. That extra point to be up 3 instead of 2 would be monumental, but can't change what already happened. It's a 2-point lead, and the Bengals are going to have to get a stop here on defense, get the ball back, and milk this clock if they want to win this game. Absolutely. Scott puts in the chat that you absolutely need more points if you're the Bengals, and I couldn't agree more. 2-point lead with the other team has Harrison Butker at kicker. I don't feel very comfortable. His range is unbelievable. We saw it earlier today, and if it comes down to him kicking to affect that game, I'm not going to bank on him missing. I would love to be up 3 right now and at least have overtime in the back pocket, but you just got to get the ball back and you got to go score. And that's the end of the story. Trey Hendrickson got the rookie benched. Backup right tackle in now. Great hit. Great hit, Logan Wilson. And then shoved after the play by Smith-Schuster. No flags. Gotta be smart. Gotta be smart. 4th and 10 for the Chiefs. Far too long. Far too deep in their own territory to even consider going for it. This is a easy punt situation. The Bengals are going to get the ball back with about 7.5 minutes to go. Closer to 7. Matt Arrowhead, Chiefs punter. One of the best punters in the history of college football. And that ball is shot off his foot. Inside the 10-yard line. Charlie Jones recovers, gets out to about the 15 or 16. Crafty return to get decent field position there from where you caught it from, but man, that ball just shoots off his foot. Shoots off his foot. What a punter. I do have some reservations about Charlie Jones as the punt returner as well. He was so electric at Purdue and Iowa returning kicks, but obviously last year he had the punt return touchdown. In the preseason he had the 50-yard kickoff return. I think this new kickoff could be beneficial for him back there for that, but punt-wise, he's not disciplined enough, in my opinion, to have him back there. He's catching balls inside the 5 every now and then. He's running horizontally almost every time he catches the ball to try to make guys miss, try to get him to line up, if you will, and then run around him. He's working for now, but we definitely look at exploring some other options if the issue gets any bigger than it is. Bengals will have about 85 yards. Let's go down the field and try to score here. Go up multiple scores. Seven minutes left. You don't want to take your foot off the gas by any means. This game's nowhere close to over, but you do have to be methodical about how you move. You can't give the Chiefs the ball back with a ton of time left. Have to run the ball, have to make sure passes are completed, players going down inbounds, run this clock, and we won't have to worry about it. Jamar Chase up to 4 receptions for 35 yards across 5 targets today, but Mike Gesicki still the leader. 6 catches on 8 targets, obviously the 2 drops for 87 yards with that 40-yard crosser earlier in the game. Just a great game from him. Very exciting Big Ten matchup this weekend. USC and Michigan. 2 top 20 teams. That'll be a good one. Back to Kansas City now with 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Sheldon Rankins shown walking to the locker room. Bengals without their 2 best interior defensive linemen for the remainder of this game, and who knows how long. After that, Burrow on a bootleg PA to Zach Moss finds Eric All for 6 yards. Eric All with a strong run after the catch, knocking the helmet off the defender. He's a gritty player. I really, really like Eric All. Under 6.5 minutes, clock is ticking. 2nd and 5 for the Bengals as we near the end of this game in Arrowhead. Still up 2. Bengals working the clock while also trying to stay aggressive. Moss gets the handoff, but he's stuffed at the line of scrimmage for almost no gain. Third and 5. Running the ball is great. Running the clock is great. Doesn't do you any good if you go 3 and out and punt it back to him. Have to convert this 3rd down here. And I would have no reason to run this ball unless you get a good look. I'm not killing the clock over converting a 1st down here. You absolutely have to get these chains to move. Burrow drops back to pass. He throws it to Gesicki, who reaches and gets it. What a play, Mike! He caught that short of the sticks. He caught that ball short of the sticks and he reached and got that 1st down. He's not getting that 1st down without that reach. That is a great play. That's a phenomenal play. Burrow flanked by Chase Brown. 1st and 10. Hands it off, and Chase Brown busts through. 11-yard carry for the number 30. Love that for him. These explosive runs are why I was so confused why he wasn't getting touches last week. He's the perfect lightning to Zach Moss's thunder. It's like the old USC backfields. It's wonderful. You just have to use them both. 1st and 10, nearing the final 4 minutes now in this game. .345 and counting down. 329 total yards for the Bengals today. Dan Pitcher trying to cook something up here to get more points on the board. Jamar Chase in motion. Stacks with Yoshivas. Burrow looking that way, but throws to Yoshivas. Oh! Off of his hands, and that ball hung in the air forever. That ball was in the air forever. Harmlessly falls to the turf. God bless. Off the drop by Yoshivas. That ball, that was a disaster waiting to happen. Three receivers at the top of the screen. Jamar Chase at the bottom. Free rusher by the Chiefs, and Burrow is wrapped up and sacked. Connor, the touchdown scorer on the scoop and score, comes in and brings Burrow down. It's 4th and 15. The Bengals are going to have to punt. The Chiefs are going to get the ball back prior to the 2-minute warning. And they just need a field goal to win this game. That missed extra point by McPherson is looming large now. Oh no, Miko. Kalanitis with a good stop. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. 2.5 minutes left. This is very much starting to feel like a Harrison Butker field goal. or a touchdown. I don't know. But this, for the vast majority of this game, this felt like a Bengals win. It currently does not. Mahomes at quarterback, Pacheco at running back, 235. First and 10 from their own 25. Pacheco for a minimal gain. Fell forward for about 5 yards. God. This is terrible. Terrible feelings. Two-minute warning. 2-minute warning. Bengals still up 2. Final 2 minutes left in the game. 25-23. Bengals would be up 3. But Evan McPherson missed an extra point. And he has performed great today. But that missed extra point could seal the fate for the Bengals in this one. 2-point lead. Chiefs are at their own 42. Trying to win this one. This is going to be a soul-crushing loss. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. This would be a soul-crushing loss. This feels like a long 2-minute warning. I got to see the end of this game. I'm getting antsy. $120 for the Bengals to hold on to this 2-point lead. I just don't think it's going to happen. I hope. But I'm losing faith as the seconds tick by. Big time losing faith. Ravens lost today, so they fell to 0-2 as well. Steelers picked up a win as well. This game's not over. Ravens fell to 0-2, and the Steelers are 2-0. Browns 1-1. Likes. Like the stream, and the Bengals will get a stop here. That's a fact. That is how it works. The football gods pay attention to what's going on here. And if this stream's getting likes, the Bengals will win. Stuffed. Jermaine Pratt stuffs Pacheco at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. 2nd and 9. Minute 50 left. Clock is ticking and Pacheco's limping. Samaje Perine checks into the game for the Chiefs, an old friend of ours. Incomplete for Mahomes there. Third and 9, minute 27 left. We need to stop. Wrapped up for a minimal gain. It's going to be 4th and 5. 4th and 5, 4th and 6. 4th and 6, 56 seconds left. This play is pretty close to the game. A first down would get them right on the fringe of field goal range, and everything else, anything else would win the game for the Bengals. So this one is about as meaningful as it gets. Now feels like as good a time as any before the biggest play of the game to welcome on our post-game co-host, Craig Sandlin, joining us now for the remainder of this one and to take us into the post-game. Craig, how are you? Up. All right, we'll hold off on bringing Craig in. We'll bring him in after this drive. 4th and 6. Mahomes drops back. Crucial play of the game. Trey Hendrickson. Mahomes finds an open man in Rashee Rice, but a flag in the backfield certainly could be a hold, and it is. Mahomes' reaction, that's a hold. Bring it back. Bring it back. Another timeout for Cincinnati. 4th and 16, under 50 seconds to go here. This is what you watch games for. This is what you watch. This is what you watch for. Trace says it perfectly. No dumb penalties. No dumb penalties. No arguing a hip drop tackle. No hands to the face. No late hits on Mahomes. Just play sound, fundamental defense. Do not allow a 17-yard play, and we get out of here with a win. I don't like a rushing 3. Only rushing 3, dropping everyone else back. Mahomes still somehow having to scramble. Hendrickson getting some pressure. He fires across his body, and the ball falls. Oh, no! 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 No way. Letter of the law. Letter of the law. I guess they're right. But, oh my God. That's how we're going to lose this game? That's how we're going to lose this game? That's soul crushing. Mahomes draws back with 30 seconds left. He can't find anyone, throws it out of bounds, stops the clock with 32. I mean, it was the right call. It's infuriating, and I hate it, and I'm mad. But that's the right call. That's pass interference. I never like a team rushing 3. Hand off to Carson Steele. He's fumbled before. Could he fumble again? Holds on to the ball. We're down to 20 seconds. Chiefs signal for timeout with 17 seconds left. Probably going to kick this on 3rd down if I had to guess, just to protect against a botched snap or anything like that. Give them a second chance if you need to. Pass interference on 4th and 16 is pretty Chiefs way to win a game, I'm not going to lie. Nine seconds left. It's coming out to kick it through. 3, 2. Butker lining it up with 3 seconds left on 4th and 6 to try to win the game for the Chiefs. Straight through. Soul-crushing loss. Bengals fall 25-26 to the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 2. Fall to 0-2 on the season. After a tough loss in Week 1 to the Patriots, they look much better, but they fall to the Chiefs in Week 2. Stick around. Craig Sandlin joins me in a moment for a post-game show. We're going to break down what went wrong, what changed from last week to this week, and where we think the rest of the season is going to go. This is going to be a tough game to talk about because, boy, oh boy, I thought we had this one won. But I'm going to get this intro ready to go, and then we'll head your way.
Looking right around Huntley. He reaches. Oh, that ball's out. That's live. Back the other way. Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30, the 20, he will score!
To the end zone, down the field, and it is deflected, and gone! Touchdown! A.J. Green!
Over goes back to throw, men are coming late, looks right down the middle, there's Eddie Brown, he has it at the 35 to the 30, he may go 10-5.
The Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up.
Yeah.
It is good!
Corey Dillon, he's gone. The knockout punch, you're looking at it. 65 yards. And they're back to throw as the blitz is on. Goes long, intended for Collinsworth. He has it down to the 20, touchdown! And Chris Collinsworth.
Throwing the long ball. Deep down the field. Johnson's coming. Touchdown. Cincinnati.
Look at Chase go. Oh, my goodness. What a gear he just found. Chase for the touchdown. Wow. Chase is on the case.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that?
Pills don't get much tougher to swallow than that one, but we're here nonetheless. Craig Sandlin, Jacob Tissett here for an immediate post-game reaction show. Chatterbox Bengals, Week 2 comes to a close for the Cincinnati Bengals as they fall to the Chiefs, 26-25. Craig, I know you were in the chat. I know you were with us for most of the day today. I know we're all not doing very well, but I guess we'll start off by saying there were a lot of positives in that game, and I think we should probably start there. But if you want to add anything before we dive into the box score, feel free.
I think we'll be able to find a lot of positives for Tuesday's show, if we're being honest. Right now, it's tough to swallow. And, ultimately, when it comes down to it, you had your chances. Obviously, you've got the ball with less than 7 minutes to go in the lead, opportunity to potentially try to eat some clock. Aren't really successful in doing that. And then obviously have Mahomes scrambling on 4th and 16. And unfortunately, a little rookie mistake. Dejon Anthony going up and goes through the back of the receiver and gives the Chiefs ultimately what becomes an easy win for them, because you've got Harrison Butker, who is absolute nails when it comes down to clutch field goals. So, look, there's a lot to talk about for sure. A lot of positives, definitely some things that still need to be cleaned up on both sides of the ball, but definitely some positives. And let's start there. Let's start with the box score recap, some of the top performers of the day.
Bengals fell, obviously, by 1 point on a game-winning field goal for the Chiefs, but a lot of positives from this game. The offensive standouts from the game so far, or this past afternoon. Joe Burrow, 23 of 36 for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns, 103.7 quarterback rating, was sacked 3 times. That's the type of play you want to see from Joe Burrow. We didn't see that in game 1. He really struggled, and today he eased a lot of those concerns, at least for me. He looked very, very good, and the numbers reflected. 2 touchdowns, both to Andre Yoshivas, which you can see on the bottom of the screen there, were his only 2 catches of the day. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, 7 yards. That's called efficiency and production. Mike Gesicki, 7 catches for 91 yards. About as good a game as we could hope out of him when we signed him. I don't know that we were banking on a whole lot of 100-yard games, but he converted when he needed to. Obviously, one big drop late there in the third quarter that changed some things with the Burrow fumble ensuing, but a great game from Gesicki, and it wouldn't have been nearly as close as it was if he wouldn't have played that way. Zach Moss, 12 carries for 44 yards. No touchdowns. I don't know why that says a touchdown. No touchdowns for Zach Moss, 12 carries, 44 yards. A little less productive on a per-carry basis as he was last week, but still got the job done. A lot of falling forward and good runs for him. And then we saw more Chase Brown today than we've seen in the past. 31 yards out of Chase Brown on just 4 carries. He's exactly that explosive back that we expected to have in this offense this season. Only 5 spots on our Bengals Week 2 stat leaders graphic, but there were other guys that contributed to this team as well today. Jamar Chase, interesting to see him further down the line of receivers when it comes to a game against a team like the Chiefs, and you were leading for the most part and really had it controlled up until the very, very end. You would expect your star players to be the ones that drive that bus. Joe Burrow certainly was, but that wasn't the case today for Jamar. 4 catches for 35 yards on just 5 targets. 6 targets last week. He caught them all, and everyone was upset with how little he was used this week. Less targets, even less receptions, but my main takeaway from this box score is Jermaine Burton. 1 catch, 47 yards, a bomb at a pivotal point in the game, finally trusting him a little bit, getting him some reps. Like to see a lot of those guys step up. Defensively, obviously, Cam Taylor-Britt with one of the most impressive interceptions we've ever seen, and if I had to guess, we'll definitely be playing that play on Tuesday. So come check out the breakdown there. But other than that, the defense really did play a sound game. I know you look at the scoreboard and 26 points is a little bit tough to swallow, but obviously a defensive touchdown on a Burrow fumble. The defense played very, very well. The run game looked good. The pass game looked good. The O-line held up for the most part. The reason to me right now, Craig, why this hurts so much, hurts as much as a week 2 loss really could, is I'm struggling to find a lot of downsides to how we played today. Like, we played really, really well today. Going into this game, I don't know that there's a lot of guys I can point to and be like, I expected them to play better than they played today. Everyone, basically, other than Jamar Chase, played up to what I expected.
Don't worry, Jacob. I am an expert at finding negatives.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I do it a lot. A couple things stand out to me on the negative side. First and foremost, we talked about it early in the first half. The Chiefs killed themselves with turnovers. Obviously, turnovers in the second half end up doing it in for the Bengals. The fumble return for a touchdown, big moment in that one. Yes, in general, the defense performed better, but still way too many holes, way too many runs out of Pacheco, and Steele, quite frankly, that went for more yards than you would like to see. Many runs, especially early in the first half, where Pacheco was picking up 5, 6, 7, even 9 yards before he's even contacted by the defense. I appreciate the fact that they cleaned up the tackling, but still a lot more that they can do to get better there. And quite frankly, a lot of scare now turns to that defensive front. And what is the injury status of BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins? That'll be a storyline to follow for sure over the next couple of days. On the offensive side of the ball, again, I hate to nitpick on a guy that had 93 yards, but that fumble was following a Mike Gesicki dropped pass that should have gone for a first down that could have changed that potential outcome, right?
Absolutely.
So look, yes, many positives, definitely some negatives and some things to continue to work on. At the end of the day, this was not the best Kansas City Chiefs team that you're going to see. If we can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs on their B- day, it's going to be a real struggle for us to be considered a playoff contender. And obviously the entire national media storyline heading up to this was that the Bengals aren't for real. You know, I think the offense showed enough today to really probably silence that a little bit more creativity from Dan Pitcher and Zach Taylor offensively, getting Jamar Chase in motion more. Obviously, you mentioned it in the open that we saw more out of Chase Brown. Zach Moss at 2.8 yards per carry isn't going to get it done. I know that's not ideal. The other thing that's interesting to me that we're going to talk about in a little bit, I think, multiple screen passes absolutely snuffed out by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the front four of those Chiefs is one of the best in the league, and we know that, and we talked about that on Thursday coming into this game. But there were way too many options that were shut down immediately because you just became either predictable or you didn't disguise it well enough at the snap. So definitely things to clean up, definitely some improvements, but in general, really tough to be taking a positive outlook for me after a game like that.
And that's fair. I think part of the reason why I am still pretty positive right now is because I was so low this whole week. I needed to see so little to get back in on this team. And 25 points from the offense is exactly what I needed to see. I said this whole week that it wasn't wins or losses or this covering the spread or whatever other, reason you want to give to be happy with how the Bengals played this weekend. For me, it was simply just the offense needs to look better. I didn't even want to put a number on points. It was going to be completely arbitrary to me. And if the offense and Joe and everyone looked better, then I would be happy. And at the end of the day, right now, I'm certainly not happy. But I think by the time we get to Tuesday and I get to take a step back and really look at this game big picture, it's just going to, you said it perfectly. You can't beat the Chiefs on an A day. It really doesn't matter how good you play. As dumb as that sounds and as reductionist as that sounds to give them that much credit, I just feel like if they're on and things are going their way and they're getting bounces like Joe Burrow getting tackled, and I still can't believe he wasn't down and that ball was moving. But for that fumble to pop out and much less the Chiefs scoop and score, that's just the kind of bounces that they seemingly always get. And then a pass interference on 4th and 16 on a ball that had no chance of being caught. It was the right call, I think. I'll have to go back and watch it again. It certainly looked like it in real time that it was. But it's a soul crushing way to lose a game because you really do feel like, I really do feel like the Bengals played like a B plus game. Like they played pretty good. There's just no wiggle room against the Chiefs. And that's the thing that's going to come up again, because we know if we want to get to where we want to go this year that we will play the Chiefs again. And you just know you have to have an A-plus game. Everyone has to be on 110%, going 100 miles an hour from the first whistle to the last in order to have a chance. I don't think they didn't today. I don't think they let up today or anything like that. That's not what I mean necessarily, but you just have to be so perfect in order to beat the Chiefs, especially in Arrowhead, that today is just killer. But just a few positives are the turnovers and who they came from, I mean, for the Bengals defense. Because we've talked, I think, every episode of this existence of Chatterbox Bengals about this linebacking core and how important it is that they don't continue on the trend that they were on last year, because they had taken a step back from the performance the prior 2 or 3 seasons, Wilson and Pratt, that is. And today we see Akeem Davis-Gaither, a guy who's been a depth piece in that linebacker room here for what feels like forever, make an incredible play, baiting Patrick Mahomes into a ball that he inevitably picks off across the middle. It was an incredible play that swung the tide of this game early and really gave the Bengals a lot of momentum. And then I mentioned it in the box score recap, but Cam Taylor-Britt talked a lot of crap this week about Xavier Worthy and how he was going to out-physical him and make his day hard. And though he did get burnt by Rashee Rice, which wasn't the best look after talking crap all week, he had one of the best picks I've ever seen over Xavier Worthy. One-handed grab, eerily similar to Odell Beckham's catch years ago against the Giants, or against the Cowboys for the Giants. So similar that they played them back-to-back on the broadcast after the pick. It was truly incredible, and a play that I feel like would probably be in Bengals lore, Bengals history, pretty high on the list if we would have won this game. If the Bengals would have pulled out this win, I think that Cam Taylor-Britt interception would have been everywhere for a long, long time. But since the Bengals don't win, since the pass interference is called and Butker knocks the kick through, it's probably one of those incredible plays that just gets lost to history, which is a shame because it truly was great. He played well today for the most part. I thought the DB room looked pretty good, better than they did early against the Patriots for the majority of this game. And Geno Stone had a few good plays. Still didn't see a lot of Jordan Battle, but another interception came for this Bengals defense that got called back was DJ Turner's. DJ Turner had a great play on a ball. It got called back, so it won't show up on the stat sheet, but he made a great play, and that's a guy that we thought was going to be our number 2 corner coming into this year, and then Dax Hill broke out in training camp and took that role. If DJ Turner can still show signs of improvement and being a viable player, that DB room just gets deeper and deeper, and it's an exciting place to be, but I don't know how much more exciting talk I can do, Craig, because, I mean, that ending was just insane.
Yeah, the ending was tough. And I think one of the things that we can potentially take away, too, is that the Bengals won the turnover battle 3-1, but they only won the points off turnover battle by 4, right? So, you know, the Akeem Davis-Gaither interception leads to a Yoshibas touchdown early on, gives the Bengals a 10-3 lead. Pratt forces the fumble off a steal. Bengals have to settle for a field goal despite getting the ball in the Kansas City territory to start their drive. Not great, but again, it is what it is. I don't love getting the ball at the Kansas City 46 after a fumble and starting with a screen pass. Yeah. I'm a real believer in momentum shifts and taking advantage of those momentum shifts. Now, I'm sure that Steve Spagnuolo knows that too and probably plays against deep balls, but I really wish they would have taken a shot there and really put this game away. The huge interception by Cam Taylor-Britt, and then, as I mentioned before, that turns into a Joe Burrow fumble. Chiefs take the lead there. So, look, I think that the turnovers were a positive for sure. I think in general the defense outperformed expectations by far.
100%.
But at the end of the day, I think that there was still room for improvement on both sides of the ball. Offensively, you know, I think Joe looked better. for sure, but I still felt like he got happy feet in some moments where he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And that was something that stood out to me as well. He started to scramble early still, threw the ball away early still. I thought in general, with all things considered, I thought the O-line did fairly well. But Joe didn't make their job any easier, I didn't feel like. So look, I'm going to have to go back and watch a lot of film on this one because there's so many moments that feel like big moments that could have gone one way or another. But at the end of the day, that Dejon Anthony pass interference at the end, it was the right call. I mean, the guy, very clearly made contact early. I don't have a problem with the call. It just, unfortunate in the moment. And the second that happens, you just know, okay, well, here we go again. And that's all it came down to for me. It just, as much as the Bengals felt improved off of week 1, I never really felt comfortable or even confident. And that's a tough feeling. And, the couple positives, right? And I realize I'm all over the place here. One is that you get the Commanders next week at home in prime time.
A team who really struggled today.
Right. So let's start there. You get the Commanders in prime time, an opportunity to turn it around, go 1-2, get the wheels back on track. The other positive is that the Ravens, the team that you're expected to compete for the division for, also lost today and are 0-2 on the season as well. And so what you have to do as a team is step back and say, okay, look, the season isn't starting the way we hoped it would. We didn't want to drop week 1. We certainly didn't want to drop week 2, but here we are. We're still tied with the team that we're expected to compete for the division against, and we still have an opportunity to make this season special. And so it starts next week with the Commanders. This defense should eat Jaden Daniels alive.
He got banged up today too, so something to keep an eye on with practice reports for him all week is what his status might be. I fully expect him to play. He came back into the game today against the Giants. It's just if he's limited in practice and everything like that this week, we know how Lou fares against rookie quarterbacks more often than not. That's a big storyline to watch if he's not practicing against that Bengals scheme this week.
Yeah, and one of the other pieces that I didn't mention yet, but I think is important to mention, is just that this defensive line met expectations today. They stepped up for sure. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson with the 2 sacks, you love to see it. The thing that also stood out to me was that Sam Hubbard was also getting pressure, and the interior defensive line was maintaining their rush lanes so that Mahomes didn't have a whole lot of places to go when he was rushed with. And so, I'll give them credit to the point where the Chiefs pulled out Sumataia at the end of the game because he was a liability. So, on that front, I thought the improvement was there. Would have loved to see them get home a little bit more. But, I don't know. My brain's all over the place right now because I'm so frustrated. I wish that outcome was different. And, it's one of these post-game show where you just sit there and think of all the moments where you're like, what if?
If you want the sound, thought out, analytical takes, come back Tuesday because we'll have them and we'll tell you what happened and what went wrong. But this post-game show right here, especially in a game like this, is for knee-jerk reactions, overreactions, underreactions, all of the above. And I think I'm checking every box right now. I'm trying not to press the panic button. It somehow feels better to be 0-2 this year than 0-2 years in the past. I feel like the Patriots looked good today, which made that loss a little easier to swallow, and then losing to the Chiefs was always a 50-50 proposition, in my opinion. So I feel like this is a little – and with Baltimore, like you said, 0-2 as well, everything is legitimately still right in front of you. You just have to win. And my issue after week 1 was that there's too many things that have to be fixed for us to beat the teams on our schedule if the team that played the Patriots comes out for 17 weeks. Today, that list is very short. The list is not long. And I think a lot of the things on that list can be solved by the addition of T. Higgins, a healthy B.J. Hill, Chris Jenkins back in the D-line rotation. What else are we missing? Amarius Mims at right tackle. There's a lot of starters on this Bengals team, both sides of the ball, that aren't in right now. And Miles Murphy is going to be a great defensive rotation player, if not starter at edge, we all hope. And he's out right now. We were 1 point away, one pass interference away from beating the Chiefs at dang near full strength. I know they're without Hollywood Brown, but where does he slide into that receiving room? I don't think he's number 1 or 2, probably 3 behind Worthy and Rice. But either way, the pieces the Bengals are missing are much, much more, crucial to their success than just Hollywood Brown not being out for the Chiefs. And to play them this close without those pieces makes me really excited to get a shot in January with all those pieces, hopefully. Because I think a 1 point loss, it's pretty easy to point to a lot of those guys and say you can get a point out of that.
Look, you talked about it during the game, and we've talked about it before as well. T. Higgins apparently went through pregame warmups today. He sounds like he is much closer to being back. If you watch the game, and I'm going to go back and watch the film and count as well, the Chiefs were doubling Jamar Chase a lot. Every time they showed a wide replay and you watched Jamar Chase, he was being doubled. That doesn't happen when you have T. Higgins on the field as well. But when you don't really have another weapon on the field outside of your tight ends who can be guarded most of the time by linebackers, it just opens your top playmakers up for being blanketed the entire game. Now, Jermaine Burton made a really nice move on his deep ball. I actually thought that Joe had Jermaine Burton on another play earlier in the game that he missed him on that could have also gone for a big gain. Not here or there, doesn't really matter. But Jamar Chase, 4 for 35 as your, number 1 wide receiver, not good enough. Only 5 targets on 34 passes, not good enough. But that's what happens when he's your only real threat in the passing game. And that's why you saw tight ends have to get so many looks today, is because Jamar Chase was blanketed. And so Joe Burrow has to go to read number 2, read number 3, and find open receivers. And right now, on the positive side, the tight ends are winning those matchups against linebackers. And that's a good thing. It's going to have to make teams think twice about doubling Chase, which will ultimately open things up for him more down the line. But what opens up things more for him even more is T. Higgins coming back to this lineup. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him in this lineup on Monday night, even if it's in a somewhat limited role.
Yeah, based on the clips from pregame today, obviously he was inactive for the game. He was doubtful up until kickoff and then finally inactive. But going through all that stuff, looking as good as you can look from the few Twitter clips I saw, didn't seem hampered at all by the hamstring. I think it just goes back to the genesis of this injury where he said he felt great and was ready to go put on a show in week 1, and then now he's been out for 2 weeks. I think he'll be back on Monday night against the Commanders. I hope he'll be back Monday night against the Commanders. That would be a great addition for a team that I think needs it. Not that they need it in terms of, the season's over if we lose to the Commanders or whatever. Certainly wouldn't be great to be 0-3. But I think we can even beat them without T. Higgins. I just think offensively for Joe, for Jamar, for a lot of these guys, having T back out there, getting back into the swing of things, getting back into what they view the Bengals offense to be, what it should look like in their opinion, getting back to that and seeing it happen against a Commanders team whose defense is very, very bad. The secondary's abysmal. Emmanuel Forbes was their starting corner. He's one of the worst corners in the league. He just got hurt. So they're going to have their backup in. And if you have Jamar and T. Higgins there, I have a hard time believing Joe Burrow's going anything under like 350 yards passing. He'll tear up the Commanders if they're all healthy. And that's why I really hope I think it'd be a perfect game to get everyone back for, because you get the wheels rolling. And what happens when you just push a boulder at the top of a hill? It never stops. It just keeps going. And I think this team just needs a little nudge. Maybe today was it. Maybe today was the nudge they needed, and now they're ready to rock, and they're going to roll the whole season, because if the team that played Kansas City today plays for the next 16 weeks, we're going to win a lot of football games. If the team that plays week 1 shows up, we might miss the playoffs. But if this team shows up every week, we are going to win more football games than not. And that's a great place to be after this week. And part of that for me is what the ticker says right there. It's the weapons. After last week, I was genuinely concerned with the wide receivers outside of Jamar Chase. the inability to get separation, the lack of trust Joe Burrow seemingly had in them. And then this week, you have a bomb to Burton, which we've talked about down the sideline. His first NFL catch, 47 yards. You have 2 red zone touchdowns to Andre Yoshibas. He's just turned into your go-to guy in that short yardage situation. Obviously, a touchdown guy last year. Half of his catches were touchdowns. Today, 2 catches, 7 yards, 2 touchdowns. What more can you want? That's great production. Sure, you'd like a 100-yard game or whatever, but that's efficiency. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. That's great stuff. And then Irwin getting in the mix, getting open a little bit, and then obviously the tight end room, what they were able to do, Eric All throwing his name into the ring as legitimate receiving threat. Mike Gesicki, I know he had the drop. I know if you really think about it, he might have cost us the game with that drop, but it was a great game for Gesicki, almost 100 yards, and I think big picture, I'm much more excited with what I saw out of this team today than down on it, even though it's really hard to look big picture right now, because how amazing would it feel to have beaten the Chiefs in Arrowhead today, not playing at 100%? Like, yeah, it was a good game, and I've said it time and time again. It was a good game. The team looked good. But there were holes. It would have felt great. Train would have been all the way back on the tracks, rolling 150 miles an hour straight to the Super Bowl. But again, we're sitting here 0-2, talking about, we got to pull out next week to avoid a truly abysmal start. So, yeah, I think that the weapons today were my biggest positive.
Yeah, look, I mean, with all due respect, your next 2 games are against the Commanders and the Panthers. Okay, so
right.
You should be sitting at 500 at worst going into Week 5 against the Ravens, right? So at worst, you should still be tied with the Ravens in the division if the Ravens also win their next 2. So you're in a good position. After the Ravens game, you play the Giants. So like 3 of your next 4, you have no excuse on losing if you do, right?
100%.
So that's one thing to see. And it's interesting. I think that the Eric All emergence is a big storyline in today's game as well.
For sure.
And one of the reasons why is that in Week 1, Eric All was mainly used in running downs. Him and Drew Sample and were clearly, that was a run option right there. Now you bring in Eric All. You have him catching passes out on passing downs. He goes 4 for 32. Now you have to respect that a little bit more, which might open up the running game moving forward as well. I'd love to see Chase Brown. He was explosive today, 4 for 31. He looked really good running the ball. I think that's that 12 offense with Eric All and Drew Sample on the field, along with a weapon on the outside and Chase Brown, gives you a lot of potential of different plays to be creative and to catch defenses off guard. And so moving forward, you've got an opportunity over the next 2 weeks, get things cleaned up, continue to clean them up, and then be 2-2 going into the Baltimore game on October 6th. So, yes, the weapons, certainly positives. Burrow today, he connects with 9 different receivers. At the end of the day, this depth is going to be really valuable for him. He's going to have 10 guys, hopefully starting next week, that can catch a ball when T. Higgins returns. And so for those people in the chat asking, oh, well, Brock Purdy is a product of a great team, but Joe Burrow isn't. Every great quarterback needs weapons.
That's right.
I don't care who you are. You cannot be successful in this league without weapons. And everyone wants to say, oh, well, Brock Purdy doesn't have weapons. Deebo Samuel's a weapon. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is a weapon. Christian McCaffrey is a weapon. Oh, well, Patrick Mahomes hasn't always had weapons. He's had a great running game. He's had Travis Kelce. He's had some sort of veteran wide receiver most of the years, whether it be Sammy Watkins or someone else.
Football.
He's got a top defense. Every quarterback in this league, no matter how good they are, needs other weapons on their team. They can't do it all by themselves, because you saw it today when you only have one real threat offensively, which we had in Jamar Chase, or at least that was all that was being respected.
Yeah.
Double, 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 double. It's really hard as a quarterback to feed your star, which then we saw Jamar Chase get frustrated later in the game, which led to that unsportsmanlike penalty, which I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about for the next several weeks.
Yep.
That all comes down to frustration. Rightfully so. Only 4 catches, only 5 targets. the contract situation, all the talk, everything else going on. Article comes out yesterday about how he's not negotiating anymore. There's just a lot going on for Jamar Chase right now. He needs to settle in, play football, and not have to think about a whole lot. And having T. Higgins will take some of that pressure off of him for sure.
You're absolutely right. We had people emerge on the offensive side of the ball, which was the positive we took away. And I think as we get into the next week or so preparing for the Commanders, we're going to have to hope for the same on the defensive side of the ball, because there were two pivotal injuries in this game that could potentially be sending ripples through the rest of the Bengals season, depending on what the updates are with those. B.J. Hill left the game early with a hamstring injury, was immediately ruled out. Sheldon Rankins left the game early as well, came back in, and then was removed again and eventually ruled out of the game with a lower body injury as well. We've talked, again, almost every show we've had together about the worries about this defensive line depth and how even if we're at 100% healthy, we're worried about the rotations that are coming through here, because you really don't have enough really top shelf good players on the inside, and Hendrickson's your only pass rush on the outside, so the inside is even more important. Well, now you lose your only two guys that are really healthy that you were planning on playing out there the majority of the time. Zach Carter's going to be getting a lot of reps. Jay Tufele obviously got a lot of reps before that too, but now those are your two guys that are out there. And McKinley Jackson's still banged up. Chris Jenkins, surgery, out at least another week. I don't know what answers the Bengals are going to have on the defensive line if B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins are unable to go for any period of time. I know there's some practice squad guys. We have the UFL guys that we signed and have released that I'm sure we could call again, but that's not what I want to do as a Super Bowl contender. I don't want to be cycling through Birmingham Stallions and St. Louis Battlehawks on the defensive line. I want NFL talent. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. And with these two injuries, if they are long-term, I worry about what it's going to look like on that defensive front.
Yeah, the defensive front today didn't do a whole lot of run stuffing, that's for sure. And, we talked about it in the offseason about how they didn't have a true nose tackle to be shoring up that run defense. And then, as you mentioned, two defensive tackles go down today. Zach Carter and Jay Tufele kind of have to carry the load late in the game due to the injuries. The Bengals do have two defensive tackles on the practice squad, but depending on the outcome of B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins, obviously, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there's certainly an opportunity where they may need to look elsewhere for a D tackle. The two D tackles on the practice squad, just for what it's worth, Justin Rogers and Dominique Davis. Dominique Davis looked okay in the preseason. So I don't mind slotting him in. I don't love having to slot him in, but he's certainly an elevation option. But they're going to need somebody else if those two are going to miss any sort of time, for sure, because you can't just go with three guys that you trust in the interior of your D line. That's just not a recipe for success.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And those are the two guys, especially if you get to pick anyone on the team. Obviously 9 and 1 probably come first, but not too far down the list of guys I don't want seeing get hurt are Sheldon Rankins and B.J. Hill. So I'll definitely be interested to see how Zach Taylor, and maybe even I'll throw Duke Tobin's name in there, how they address this if these injuries continue to linger, because there were a lot of guys that we talked about on cut day that were released around the league that we thought were interesting on the defensive line, or could potentially help the Bengals as depth pieces. If that becomes an even bigger need, maybe they attack some of those options. I don't know, something to keep an eye on. I'm going to be glued to the injury report as we get later in this week to see what to expect on Monday. Craig, we're not going to stick around too long tonight. We have to get our minds right, because I think if we talk about this game too long tonight, we're gonna get in a hole and get upset. So we're gonna come with clear minds on Tuesday and really have a good breakdown. But before we get out of here, I want to more talk about where I stand right now, and I obviously want you to do the same. But the season as a whole, I feel like I have yo-yoed more than I ever have just 2 weeks into the season. Last week against the Patriots, I don't want to say I gave up on the Bengals, because I didn't. The season's 17 weeks long, and I said all summer that a slow start doesn't matter, so I certainly didn't give up on the Bengals after week 1. but I was starting to question if the ultimate goal was still on the table, that being a Super Bowl. We could still win the North. We could still make the playoffs. We could still get to the AFC Championship. We could still get to the Super Bowl. But could we win it? The team I saw play in week 1 couldn't. Today, I think we definitely could. I think the team looked great today. I'm all the way back in on preseason expectations. And I think that might be a weird thing to say after starting 0-2, because usually every loss as you start the season slow would chip away at those expectations. But I feel like after today, after I can take a minute and calm down about how the ending of that game went, I'm going to be in a better place with this team than I was really at any point in time this offseason. And the combination of Jamar's holdout and all the questions about different, things going on at practice, and then the slow start week 1, it felt like every day or so expectations were just going down. Something new that could go wrong was being added to the table. Now I feel like all that stuff's more or less behind us. Jamar obviously didn't play well today, and that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty is going to be talked about a lot because it did affect the outcome of the game potentially. But he also seemed like he cared a lot about it, which I know might be grasping for straws to try to justify a penalty. But hey, a guy that threatened to hold out, a guy that Adam Schefter reported last night, his camp threatened to hold out the first 2 games of the season. He's out there in week 2, so upset about a call he thinks the refs missed that he's willing to argue about it and get a penalty. That's a guy who's at the very least bought into what the Bengals are doing at this point and wanting to compete and wanting to win. And I think I saw that in a lot of places today. I saw that in a lot of places. You said after the Patriots game that they didn't have the energy and they weren't as ready to go as you hoped they would have been for week 1. I think today they were. That was not a complaint for me today. They had juice. They were ready to go. And granted, it was the Chiefs. It doesn't take a lot to get hype for a matchup between 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in football, 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in football. You got to be able to get excited when you play the Patriots, when you play the Panthers, when you play the Commanders too. That's part of it. But to see a rejuvenated team today that really looked better in all facets than they did in week 1, it's gotten me back in really as much as I could be at 0-2.
Yeah. Where do I stand today? Well, I stand that this team bounced back, and that was a positive. I stand that the next 2 games, knock on wood, are extremely winnable. I stand in a place where this team has shown that they can compete with what is supposed to be the best in the league. I worry a little bit about certain aspects, the depth for sure, especially along the D line. But here's where I am, is that after today, after week 1, I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
we're in trouble here. After today, I'm not so close to the edge of the cliff. I think that's a positive there. But the truth of the matter is that there was a lot of young guys out on that field for the Bengals and a lot of inexperience out there for the Bengals. And you can get T. Higgins back. You can have a healthy Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill. But the fact of the matter is that you still have a lot of young guys that this team is relying on. And so I'm mentally preparing for just an up and down season. And ultimately, I'll admit it. Like on Thursday, I picked the Chiefs to cover 5.5. I'm glad that the Bengals didn't allow that to happen, but I did. And that's kind of a reflection of where I was at that time.
No, it wasn't far off.
No. And look, so I'm just preparing for a season where I think they can compete for a playoff spot. I think you're going to have games where you're like, what are they doing? And then you're going to have games where they look similar to what they look like today, where they look like they could make a run to an AFC championship game. The biggest question in terms of how I feel come the end of the season is going to be the development of some of those younger guys. They gave Dejon Anthony a lot of playing time today.
Yeah.
They put Joseph Asai in there and gave him a lot of playing time today. Those are 2 guys that are going to have to step up and be able to answer the call if the Bengals are going to rely on them to make more and more plays. And today, Dejon Anthony makes what some might call a rookie mistake, being a little too aggressive on a ball that wasn't really catchable on 4th and 16. But I think the truth of the matter is that that's something that we're going to have to face with this team potentially all season long. And whether it's the receiving core without a whole lot of experience outside of the main two with T and Jamar, or it's a defensive back that doesn't have a lot of experience. Now, Cam Taylor-Britt has clearly shown that he can be a top corner.
Yeah.
A lot of faith there, but he can't be the only one. And,
right.
The Bengals did a good job today shutting down Patrick Mahomes for the most part. Only 151 yards passing out of Patrick Mahomes is something that we haven't really talked about yet.
Yeah.
Threw the ball 25 times, only 151 yards. I don't know how we got I don't know how long have we been on the show? 45 minutes onto the show without talking about Patrick Mahomes going for 151 yards. But on the flip side, he gave up 149 on the ground. And so this team right now is good enough, I think, and skilled enough to make a push. But I am preparing myself mentally for some outcome similar to the Patriots game where I'm just like, how does that happen?
And I think that's fair. And that comes back to the talking point we had going into this one, how many people we wanted to see step up. I did see a big step from a lot of those people, but there's just the list is so long of guys that you need to play above expectation in order to legitimately win a Super Bowl. And hopefully we get it. Hopefully we get it. And maybe you can win a Super Bowl with half of that list of guys that you want to start all the time, really playing up to expectation. But it's going to take a lot of great play from later round draft picks and young guys to really contribute. And that's something that we're going to have to get used to as Bengals fans. That's going to be something that we're relying on every single year, because once you pay a quarterback $50 million and once you pay a receiver probably in the 40s by the time we get to next offseason with Jamar, you don't have a whole lot of options for going to sign free agents. You have to hit through the draft, and you have to put all your eggs in that young guy basket, more or less, and hope that one or two of those late round picks pan out. Having Dejon Anthony in there getting big time reps, I know the pass interference is not great at the end of the game, but to have your 6th round pick in there getting reps at safety in a crucial game, in a crucial spot. We're not talking about garbage time. We're talking about must-win, 4th down, convert to win the game play. He's on the field. Obviously, it didn't go his way, but that just shows that the team has faith in him enough to have him on the field, which is great. That's a great place to be with your late-round picks, but obviously they still need to get to a point where they're playing consistent, good football, and we might be a little bit away from that, which is why I 100% agree with you, Craig, that it's going to be an up-and-down season this entire season. Just hopefully more ups than downs, and if you can win a couple of the downs, that's when you really succeed, because we're not going to look good every week. But if we can have a couple of those 15 weeks left, if we're going to play 12 good games, those 3 bad games, I would love to be against like the Giants, the Panthers, and maybe you still sneak out a win. It all is going to come down to when you play those bad games and what those mistakes are. Because I think you can make mistakes and still overcome them and win the game. I mean, obviously, that's how sports works. But if you're going to fumble on scrambles, if you're going to throw picks, if you're going to get unnecessary, unsportsmanlike calls, you got to control the stuff you can control. And I think for the most part today, the Bengals did that until the end, when they kind of, gave up is the wrong word, but gave up their control of the situation, gave up their control of the momentum, and it just kind of got away from them. But again, the last thing I really want to just harp on here is, I know it's a pessimistic show and we're all pretty upset about how that unfolded today. I feel much better basically every minute that passes by about this team for the remainder of this season. Joe Burrow threw for how many yards today? A number that looks reasonable next to his name, not 160 like last week. Right. Like that's
258.
That's awesome. That's great. That's what we paid him to do. We still have the pieces. We still have the talent. We just need to have it all click together. We're 1 point away from beating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. a pretty good place to be.
Yeah. And like we've said multiple times, an opportunity to bounce back next week against the Commanders in prime time on national television. Look, we're going to be live on Tuesday.
That's right.
At 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a chance to watch film before that. We'll bring some film with us to break down and go over it even more. And we'll have some better thoughts at that point, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Really hard to really get your thoughts together in a show like this, in a scenario like this. But Tuesday, I promise a much more opinionated show in terms of the outcome. Certainly a lot of knee-jerk reactions tonight, but Tuesday we'll have some much more relevant content to discuss for sure. And then on Thursday, we'll look ahead to that Commanders matchup on Monday night. I think on Tuesday I'll have a lot better feeling on kind of how I feel moving forward about this team.
And that's fair, but that's why I wanted to get it right now, is because I think this is the most genuine reaction I think you could probably have to this team, just because it's so raw and so emotional right now after that loss. Zach Taylor said it in the post-game press conference, one of the few quotes I've been able to see so far. He said it was an emotional loss. There's no way around it. And I think it's good that the team cares. I said it about the players. I'll say it about the coaches. If Zach Taylor got up there and said it's just another game, we've been 0-2 before, we've made a run, and it's fine, we'll be fine by next week, I would have been fine with that. I would have made a big deal out of it, but it certainly wouldn't have been that encouraging. For him to sit up there and say, hey, we're tore up about this loss. This stinks, and it really is affecting us emotionally right now. That is a great view into the players and the team that you root for, that they're humans just like you, and the games affect them just like they affect us, and they want to win just as bad as we do. And that is always a reassuring place to be as a fan. So you got it.
Here's what I'll say is that if the Bengals had beat the Patriots last week, this one becomes somewhat easier to swallow, because you went out there, you played a hell of a game, you went toe to toe, and ultimately if you fall short, you fall short, but you see improvement, you see stepping up from week to week. And if you didn't get it done against the Chiefs, you're thinking, okay, well, we're 1-1, which is kind of maybe where we thought maybe we would be after 2 weeks anyway. We'll see you in January, Kansas City, and then we'll figure out really what matters. On the flip side, they didn't beat the Patriots, and so it feels a little bit different today than maybe it would have. But I think the positive side is that the things we said that we were looking for out of the Bengals this week, we saw that. We saw better tackling. We saw a better Joe Burrow. We saw more creativity out of the offense. So we saw what we wanted to see. It didn't result in the result that we wanted, but we saw what we needed to see out of this team to have a little bit of confidence moving forward. I'll feel a lot better in 3 weeks if we're 3-0 over the next 3 weeks and we beat Baltimore on October 6th.
Yeah, I never put a whole lot of weight into the start. Obviously don't want to be 0-2, but we've seen this team bounce back before. I think we'll see them bounce back again. But I will put a lot of weight in these next 3-4 weeks. I think if you don't go 3-1 in these next 4 weeks, quite honestly, you go Commanders, Panthers, Ravens, Giants. If you don't go 3-1 in those games, then we need to have a serious conversation about what this team's trying to do. Because if you can't beat the teams at the bottom of the league when you're paying a quarterback big-time money, when you're paying other people on your team big-time money, then there's big questions that you have to ask about the trajectory of your franchise. Because there's no reason to be cutting a $55 million check if you can't beat the teams that are picking 1, 2, and 3 in the draft. So I'm putting a lot more weight on these next 4 weeks than I think other people are, at least right now. But it's make or break. It's make or break for the season basically right now. And again, I'm not talking about sneaking into the playoffs as the 7th seed or whatever. I'm talking about competing for the North, competing for a top seed, competing with, being in the conversation for legitimate Super Bowl contenders going into the playoffs. I think that could go out the window soon if it unravels again, because I could very easily see this team. I hope not. And I have faith in this coaching staff that they'll keep them right. But I could see this team reverting after this week and saying, hey, that was great. We twitched all around and just hanging their head this week with the loss with the Chiefs, and then turning around and playing the Panthers game again, or the Patriots game again. So I don't know. We're going to learn a lot about this team in the next few weeks. I think that's just the point that I want to leave it with, is we are going to learn a lot about this team over the next few weeks. And I don't think that's the worst place to be, because we're going to find out what we're working with very, very soon.
Yep.
All right.
Nothing more to say.
For us, that's going to wrap it up. We'll come back Tuesday with clear thoughts, good film, and a sound breakdown. We hope to see you guys all here at 6 p.m. We'll be live, and shortly after, it'll be everywhere that you listen to podcasts. So feel free to download it and listen to it that way as well. For Jacob Tissett, thank you for sticking with me through the stream. It's always fun to watch it with you guys. For Craig, thank you for joining me in the postgame. Always a pleasure. That's going to do it for us today. Go watch some Sunday Night Football. This should be a good one. Texans-Bears. C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, two exciting young quarterbacks. See what happens. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.